go over to my vote for energy for game number 1. I vote for this.
Safe, but I know you, VK. You are an analyst in her true form. She likes being right. She likes knowing the game and prides herself in knowing the game just as good or better than any caster. So I respect the right call, which is NRG. I mean, listen, anyone with a brain right now based on NRG's been playing. Maybe if you're just watching for the first time, you haven't heard. NRG's been dominating the Oversight League. They've been dominating a lot of other tournaments. You got to say NRG's the best and most well suited, but I believe in a good time. You know, I'm here for a good time and a long time. And I'm saying that Team Moist is winning this competition and winning game number 1. You know what I'm saying? The Moist Burgers playing all the way from Australia. It's a long shot, but I'm rolling with it.
We're going to have to see here. We're just going to tune into Cloud 9 real quick. You're going to be able to get some of that extra loot off of the spiders. But yeah, there's a good way to approach this thing too. You know what I really like and what I've learned and used for my own games here too was actually seeing Cloud 9 clean up these spiders in the past. And what they do is that they kind of round them up, kind of like zombies back in the day, and they let them hoard together and they just throw a thermite into the choke point where they can't lose.
Speaking of bold statements, and I like that. Yeah, that's actually a really, really interesting strat in Storm Point. But speaking of bold statements, I'm gonna make a bold statement and say that was the fastest clearing of a spider camp in history of Storm Point. Wow. I don't think there's been one faster. I'm convinced, unless it was like Gilderson's, you know, going for a record so he could post a clip on Twitter or something, which I haven't seen happen. Most people just stick to the firing range for that. So, Rocker, congratulations. You have the unofficial record, according to Fallout, for the fastest spider clear of all time.
Getting started here, something else to note, of course, on Storm Point. You got those tridents to go for those quick rotations. This is something that C9 does early game as well. Very similar to what we had witnessed from the Team Liquid boys over on World's Edge when they are running that Loba. But this is a really good strat here because you are denying yourself some loot when you do land separately like this, but you're also allowing yourself to be able to get nicely looted up in the early game so that way you can focus on just holding that final circle positioning.
Oh my god, and they're hitting this. They're gonna get so much loot, it's insane. Again, smart. 16 teams in the lobby, 15 showing right now, so I don't know if a team got wiped off rip, may have missed it. But what that means is they looted Cenote Cave in the outskirts in Spider Camp. They looted No Name Village outside of Mill, and I think a little bit of Mill as well as maybe where Naughty dropped before he got picked up by the Trident. And then they're also gonna get themselves some additional loot. That is actually insane. They're going to be very, very well kitted, well positioned. They can level up their shields that way by defeating some robots. As we'll take a look at Los Bipados, aka the Bipods, aka the Tripods -1, as they are playing with NRG's very own Aprizi. Really, really solid team. Got to keep an eye out for. I think they'll place top 5 today.
That's why they're called Bipados for a reason. It's just 2 of them right here, but it's okay. They got everybody set up here. And this is a nice amount of loot that they could work off of too. You can see the setup that we see from Deez, the Wingman, and the Volt. Just waiting to see where they want to rotate. And if you notice so far with the teams that we've already actually spectated follow, it's kind of what you were talking about before. It's a Seer that has kind of been that mainstay leg for a lot of these teams to stand on to actually add to their composition because Seer is so good on Storm Point.
Yeah, that's right. Seer is insane. I mean, Storm Point,
World's Edge, yeah,
still everywhere. But everywhere, but Storm Point in particular, exactly as you mentioned. Agreed. You know, interestingly enough, it looks like Bipods are going to be dropping over in Cenote Cave, which is right next to C9. So we might see a little early game fighting going on. But these teams, keep in mind, I mean, for those that don't know how it kind of works at the pro level for these tournaments, these teams get into a Discord. And they all post their drop spots in that Discord, and it's like claiming real estate. It's like Monopoly, but you get to pick whatever land you want. As it looks like AIM, we're gonna hold that thought here. As AIM's gonna find themselves in a fight with only gray shields here. This is not looking good, Vicky.
Oh, it's absolutely scary too. Hierarcha did pull the trigger on the EMP. It looks like right here, but here's that Seal that we were talking about before. They already managed to get that knock. They try to finish up. It is tied up real quick, and as AIM is trying to play around the doorway, but you're funneling yourself into one place. Now AIM losing out Onu Chaku, losing out Onu Hierarcha. It's really only up to Nods, and they were low, incredibly low. He's got the R301. He can definitely be able to turn around.
Hold up here. It's going to be a 1 versus 1 for the Brett, and Nags connects for 2, but the third party's going to come through, and Nags gets taken out as well. It's going to be to none other than Aiden, the Destroyer. The BR Demons comes, and look at all the loot they get to just clean right up. Even with a lobby of 15 or 16 teams, the third party is obviously still a threat, and it shows right there. BRD on top.
It's so scary playing off of the outskirts right here because you think you could go uncontested since you're on that one side of the map where a lot of the teams want to try to rotate through the middle depending on where that circle's pulling, but some of these teams do already see that the circle is pulling south, so with that beacon scan and after cleaning up that third party, BRD are looking absolutely fantastic. It's all about being at the right place at the right time, and look at this weapon loadout too. You got the G7 and the bow, my favorite.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Very well positioned right now. G7 Volt in hand, in the hands of Reeds. You know, is such a talented absolute slayer. It'll be fun to watch and keep an eye on. Meanwhile, it looks like the bipods are going to hit the rotation. Very good rotation. They'll find themselves on the edge, and the zone will probably continue to pull south here. So they are in a really good position for late game. They're playing for late game points. Keep in mind, this isn't ranked. You don't need to get that 5, 6, 7 KP early and then chill to get RP. You can obviously play for late game placement, collect 3, 4, 5 kills at the end of the game, and still be at the top of the overall leaderboards here with a 12-point first place finish.
Yeah, and if you want to frag out and try to get all those kills, remember that that's just your team leaving yourself open to get third party here, which a lot of these players, although being that Apex Predator and getting that reward for that $500 looks pretty nice and a nice flex in general, you want to be able to hold that final circle positioning like Los Baipalos are doing right now. You can see them playing on the southern point, which I like this decision because sometimes we do see the circle pull on the rocks kind of north of Shipfall or in between Gale Station. So this could be that 50-50 that this team could use while they are pinging down 2 separate squads on each side of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll keep a close eye on the bipods and how they continue to play it, but they'll be content holding this real estate for now. As we take a look at some other teams nearby, it looks like the BR Demons still close. Team Moist nearby as well. BR Demons already have themselves 1 or 2 kills. So they're going to be big chilling with some great loot as well. One thing I want to point out, though, from that first fight, just to kind of break down what we saw there in the first fight of the day, Vicky. It was actually my boy Marsh. And you might not have heard of Marsh if you're a fan of competitive Apex. Marsh Cage is a new player to the scene. He actually is a former Gears professional player. He was arguably the best Gears 4 and Gears 5 player from the UK and in Europe. And now he has switched over to Apex Legends and playing alongside Horizon and Co. That's a really, really solid team. And he actually was able to knock 2 in that fight. So welcome to competitive Apex in the main stage here, Marsh. Excited to see how he continues to progress. But unfortunately, the third party came through right after, and he actually lost that 1v2 Nags.
It's always interesting to see how players from other games make that transition into Apex and to show how talented they are in general with their foundation and understanding of the shooters. As you can see, a redeploy with the Skyward Dive is happening right above Soaked in Style. They just rode in here. They're on the outskirts of the map, but it looks like they're also trying to contest another squad that may be rotating on the outskirts too.
Yeah, and they're out of zone right now, so they're going to have to hit an edge rotation. That'll be an interesting rotation for the Doc. Playing as Seer. We got Nick as Seer, we got the Doc as Seer. Battle of the Streamers. That'll be a fun one to keep an eye on. But right now, we have Enemy Go from Luminosity playing with Saucer and Bronzy in a 3v3 fight against the full 100 Thieves squad, running that same comp that works so well for them. Newcastle, Watson, and Valkyrie that we saw at LGS Champs.
This is very interesting too, because if with their position, this works into their comp so well, but there's another team contesting them on the other side. You can see 100 Thieves actually playing around the back end here on the high ground right next to them. MST are also playing from the back here too. You can see Jara actually making this rotation from the southern point, so 100 Thieves needing to be careful. They're going to continue to get pinged by some of these other snipers like the charge rifle that we've been seeing.
Yep. So in this situation here, especially given what you just mentioned of the harass coming from other players, are you trying to clear that other side and really take control of this? What is this, a spaceship? I don't even know what you call it in entirety, or are you just letting them kind of coexist alongside you?
I would say coexist here in this situation because you're not trying to overextend when there's another squad right to your south. They know that too. That's why they're ready to bunker down here. They're predicting that this is exactly where the circle is going to be pulling in this direction. Sometimes we have seen that too. When it comes to Shipfall, being on top is really great, but you don't want to set yourself up into the buildings north of Shipfall too early because that's where the third party, the fiesta actually happens.
That's right. Well said. So it looks like 100 Thieves will be content just coexisting in Shipfall alongside their peers on the other side of the ship. Meanwhile, a couple other teams nearby. 13 squads remain. This is going to slow down quite a bit here for quite some time as, of course, the calm before the storm, before the late game. But again, only 16 teams in this lobby in entirety. So it's a smaller lobby, and a lot of teams will be able to kind of claim early rotates and early real estate. So mid games are going to be a little bit slow. Early game, we'll see some fights we saw already. And then, of course, the end game will be absolutely bonkers as Scurry is going to be damaged quite a bit. We'll be able to heal back up and reset. They are contesting this fight, Vicky. It looks like they want to take this fight, or at least entertain it, but the harass nearby, as we talked about, is just too much.
It's a charge rifle. It's such a good gun in general, but on Storm Point with such like open areas, it's even better. We saw Dupe absolutely put it down in early Storm Point competitive with that charge rifle, and it's for a reason. It's such a good gun to have, and you're running that double taser composition with the Newcastle and the Watson, so you know that they're not going to move anywhere, so you have to force some of these squads out of that area.
Jump back on with the bipods. We don't know where the zone's going to be rotating or closing in on, but they're going to be still within a similar position. Looks like they decided to rotate a little bit to the right and claim additional real estate. As actually there where the previous spot was, those 3 houses are going to be slightly out of zone here. So nice rotation coming through from the bipods for now. They're going to continue to poke, I believe, against the BR Demons nearby. And if we could do a little bit of a whip around here, I'm making that claim, making that demand. I don't even know if our observers can hear us. Sorry if you can't. We'd love to see where some of the other teams are positioned here. We know where the BR Demons are. We know where 100 Thieves are. We know where the Bipods are. I'd love to take a look at who else is left in this lobby. NRG, C9, where have they found themselves in this late game?
Yeah,
It looks like
especially with the way that teams are rotating on the edges of the circle more than anything, aside from the teams like 100 Thieves that are running that bunker down style composition. That's why they're in the middle. Now looking at this, look at Moist over on the other side. They're on the southern buildings. As we can see some pings with the G7 over by the side. See Nick Merckx as well behind that rock. Reed's getting absolutely pinged. They have a nice amount of land that they're controlling, but the thing is, neither Energy or the other squad could really push on to each other because you know that Moist Esports is going to be able to capitalize.
Yeah, that's right. And as we take a look here, this is exactly what you want if you're a fan of Nick Merckx and the Bipods. They are in zone. They're in well positioned. The zone will likely continue to pull south. Nick is leveling up his Evo shield by hitting some G7 shots long range. So Bipods are in a good place here. Optic playing with their full roster, by the way. So it looks like it won't be Girl. It'll be the full Optic gaming roster competing here today. Okay. And they're going to be on a great flank on E6.
So full Optic gaming roster playing on the outskirts, actually taking their time to get into that next circle. Map going down as we saw where that circle was going to be going, but with Energy playing off of this high ground, they're looking fantastic. They already call that white. Look at this. With the G7, it's going to be able to be so lethal on Stormpoint. Guild falling incredibly low, but he managed to get to cover. C9 also eliminated as well in the feed.
It's going to be the flank coming through from Optic. E6 picks that up, and you can expect Optic to try and take that fight over E6 in your Elim feed here in a moment, potentially. Meanwhile, NRG, they love playing under pressure. They're so good at it, and they're currently between a rock and a hard place, quite literally. Team to their left, team to their right, and despite being in a tough spot, kind of playing edge, they're thriving as they're leveling up their Evo shields. Sweet will have purple shields here in just a moment.
Also, if you take a look at the Devo that we have on one of the hands of the Energy players, they already got that turbocharger already crafted up, already set up in that weapon. There's that rock that I was mentioning beforehand, but NRG sees a fight going on as 100 Thieves. They have not moved. They're still bunkered down, but they need to move down as an amigo gets taken out.
Yeah, and here we go. Exactly what we kind of foreshadowed earlier. 100 Thieves, will they continue to coexist? The answer was no. They wanted to completely earn all of Shipfall, and they will, courtesy of some help from people nearby. Looks like they will wipe the team across from them, and they'll take all of Shipfall to their own. It's got to be careful now. Obviously, a couple teams are going to be trying to push that. Meanwhile, I mentioned Sweet will be leveling up his Evo shield soon. He does. All three members of NRG at purple shields. They are very well resourced, well kitted right now. And again, playing edge where they thrive. Expect them to take a couple fights here, pick up some KP on this rotate. But it's going to be a tough rotate with teams like Team Nick Merckx, Moist, and others gatekeeping them.
At least for NRG, they do have Guild with the Valk, but obviously this late in the game, it's that risky 50-50 that you have to think about with a lot of these buildings already having the real estate taken up, and that's why this year is so good. Sweet, already knowing with that heartbeat sensor that there's already a team that has taken the real estate inside of that room. Yes, he takes some shots here, but he's going to play a lot more passively because like you said, it's going to be really difficult to get into this next circle with so many teams already situated there for ring number 2.
That's right. So we're doing a good job just getting the intel. That's who you really want to have on your seer. Someone with good comms, someone that's able to kind of give the lay of the land in duress to their teammates. As they're going to use a Valk ult to hit a rotate here. So again, that's what a get out of jail free card playing edge is great for. Optic Gaming finds himself in that fight we kind of previewed earlier. It looks like one's going to go down. It's going to be knocked. Not after he gets a full elim on reflex. And Duplex and Skittle, the duo here, should be able to clean up what I believe is a 2-on-1. And yes, they do. The sandwich comes through. The Optic Gaming eats as they win that 3v3.
I believe Team Army National Guard as well in a lot of trouble over to the side right there, as Team Optic are going to be able to get knocked right back into it. They're going to be able to actually get a good amount of loot before entering that next circle, because you can see the rock actually taking up so much of that space. Team Optic do not want to get caught off of this rotation, but they still have knocked on the Valkyrie, so it'll be fine here. But with the circle closing in, they're going to have to start moving.
That's right. And by the way, shout out to the Army National Guard for making this competition possible, but then also giving the top Army National Guard team a spot in this tournament, which is amazing. Of course, thank you to all of our servicemen and women in the Army. So we're taking an eye here. They get taken out this game, but Soaked in Style also gets eliminated. 100 Thieves eats a little bit of storm damage, but again, very, very great rotate, and that's where this Newcastle Watson comp is so good. Free recharge of their shields from the pylon, and they can just eat on teams nearby. Scurry almost gets knocked, though.
Very close right there. Scurry a little scared there. And now Maxlon playing off of that high ground, putting himself out in the open. He's trying to dance around. He's trying to get back to safety with the rest of his 100 Thieves squad mates, but he can't get there in time. They're also getting pinged by the player that has had the charge rifle for so long on the other side. You see that res coming in. That's why the Newcastle is so strong. Also having that purple knockdown being in the replicator, or rather earlier on, is so good with some of these wingy dingy shots, obviously landing its mark onto the heads of Zerif.
That's right. Zerif doing a really good job, though. Cheeky angle in that window to get that first knock, but Newcastle is your opponent. And the Newcastle res is so incredibly strong, especially compared to Lifeline. So you're seeing so much Newcastle in play here. Meanwhile, NRG find themselves in a really tough fight against Tyler FPS, Unlucky, and Matafe. That's Bosch, and they're going to Bosch right all over NRG. Guild the last alive. We know what he can do in 1v3s, though.
Absolutely, and he's stuck in this little crevice right now because there's still that team that's right behind him. You can see the shots flying right next to him, but he's got 35 seconds to make his way into this next circle. He's bringing attention to himself. He knows he's in a tight place. It's going to be Bosch waiting for him on the other side, so sandwich in the situation, it's going to be difficult. They already know he's right there. He knows he's a lone player right there, too, but they can't push in because the other spot on the other side is going to actually ping them.
That's right. Bosch really well positioned right now. At least 2 kills to their name. And they can gatekeep NRG. Doesn't have a Valkyrie, and obviously doesn't have a team. Tyler FPS pushes wide left. Guild takes out 1, doing what Guild does best, just being a nuisance, but he'll get taken out right after as he was sandwiched by 100 Thieves and Bosch. So NRG eliminated. Vicky, you were, I hate to say it, but you were wrong.
No. All right, Fallout. I see you. We got the Skyward Dive coming in right now. Sometimes but that's why these early rotates, especially with the Valkyrie, is so important here because you already see how difficult it is to make these rotations when a lot of these teams have the real estate that they have for free. 100 Thieves don't have this real estate though because it's going to be Moist that's meeting them on the drop after that Skyward Dive, and now this is going to allow Reeds to actually just move in with the rest of his team to contest here for the third party.
That's right. 100 Thieves, again, able to rotate safely and find good positioning. That's the benefit of Newcastle, is you're going to basically get yourself your own cover. Similar to Gibraltar and how important Gibraltar was early on, Newcastle allows you to create artificial cover, and it looks like the bipods will be eliminated at the hands of Optic Gaming. They take out Nick and Co. And we have 4 squads left. It's 100 Thieves. It's Optic. We got quite some big names here in this late game.
Story now, gonna be able to actually get some extra loot here. Looks like they were hurting a little bit. No attachments on that R301. Meanwhile, Reed's Bane, they're gonna be moving over to the side as well. See, Moist just stuck in that building. They have not left that building this entire time. This is where they predicted the circle was going to move it. And with them also running the Taser squad with this composition, I mean, this is exactly how to play your gameplay. Notice what 100 Thieves did as well. When they decided to take the real estate on top of the ship, they're just going to stay there the entire time before having to rotate with the Valkyrie. But it was Moist that had the good prediction on the circle first.
Yeah, it's going to be so tough for anyone to try and take over that building. And guess what? BRD might try and be the ones that do it, but good luck. You got to get through Newcastle cover. You got to get through Watson fences. Looks like they'll be content taking high ground instead. They're not going to try and ape, which is the wise decision here. But interestingly enough, Moist going against that APAC South tried and true caustic Gibby big man meta that every APAC South team ran at champs. They're going to switch over to an equally big team comp with Newcastle and Watson. Waltzy's been grinding this game, and it is showing right now. Moist in a great position to win this one.
Yeah, 4 squads we saw up on the screen that are left right now. The Seer ult's going down. You can see at the same time. But like you mentioned, that composition is so difficult to push into the building that Moist, it's fine. Yes, there's intel. Yes, you see the Seer ult coming out. But they don't need to move from this position. 100 Thieves on the other side as BRD are playing off of the roof, sharing that real estate with Moist playing underneath them.
That's right, and Moist has the clear advantage here. I mean, look at the zone at the top left of your screen. It's basically a ton of no man's land, no cover, except for the building that Moist has the corner of, and then, of course, half of the zone is going to be in the mountain. So this is a really, really brutal late game. It's going to be all up to these teams to basically try and team up with the Kraber in hands of Matafe and take out Moist inside. Looks like Bosch is going to try and do something.
Remember, here we got 4 squads left, though, at the same time, and now with some of these knocks going down here, to be scary. I believe it's BRD, Moist, Bosch, 100 Thieves now fighting just for the control of this building that Moist has in their hands. They heard you, Fallout. They heard your prediction. They know exactly how much you love their team, how much we were rallying right behind them. But now Bosch are going to be able to move in. They're going to be able to see what is going on over here. Nice spacing right there from Bosch. Unlucky to be able to delete that and then immediately try to delete the player that's on the high ground.
I am so impressed with how Bosch is playing this right now. Matafe only gray shields to his name with a shield swap, but they were the initiators and the aggressors against Vayne and 100 Thieves, and they got a knock on Aiden as well. So they made it a 3v2v3, which is a 3v2v2v3, but Vaxlon did get rezzed, courtesy, of course, of the Newcastle on their team. So Vaxlon can play a little aggressive here.
Look at this, Unlucky now moving in over to the side. Moist are now in trouble. It looks like they're actually getting dinged from 2 squads on each side. They're just playing off of the side little corner, the crevice. But look how beautiful this shield is here too. Just allowing the rest of Moist to actually just negate the damage with the grenades, but don't peek out there, Waltzy.
Waltzy, what are you doing? He got a little bit aggressive there. And of course, Waltzy's known to try and make some big plays. Jarl connects for the blindy, and it looks like Bosch will be eliminated. So despite being the initial aggressors, the res will come through, and Moist survives. 100 Thieves versus Moist. We got the big person combo versus the big person combo here. Watson and Newcastle for each.
Hey, that tells you something about the composition right now. As the 100 Thieves have Brain over the high ground. They have Brain on the outskirts of this building, which is amazing because the 100 Thieves now are just going to forcibly funnel Moist outside of these buildings. You can see 100 Thieves now with Scurry playing on the low ground. They're going to be able to play on the outskirts, but they're in a lot better position. As you can see, MT getting knocked by Vaxon's Kraber.
Yeah, that's huge. Vaxlon with a big pickup. That gives them a 3v2. I don't think they're going to get the Newcastle res because they will ape. So this should be a 100 Thieves round as they push up, get some good damage in. 3v2 for the bread, and 100 Thieves cleans it up and wins this one. What a game from 100 Thieves as they were on the outskirts and had to slowly work their way in. But courtesy of a Newcastle res and courtesy of some greatly placed shots and patience, they win this one over Moist, who were the defenders in that scenario. And really, you thought Moist was best positioned to win that game. It's 100 Thieves instead.
It's crazy.
About Mad Maggie Ball slamming into Gibraltar domes. So this is how much this girl loves this game. As we're jumping in to game number 2. Again, apologies for the delay, y'all. We had a bit of a restart. Want to take this moment as we're dropping in here on Stormpoint in game 2 to give major thanks to the Army National Guard. The next greatest generation is now. Of course, Gen Z is coming of age at a tough time with the global pandemic, historic unemployment, and skyrocketing student debt. The media has counted them out, but the National Guard is a part-time commitment, so members can still work or go to school or play Apex professionally by pursuing multiple paths at once. Guard members have set themselves up for future success. Of course, the Army National Guard and the Army Reserves, an amazing program for people who maybe could use some direction or need some, of course, part-time assistance. So big shout out to the Army National Guard as we jump into game 2.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic here. Of course, shout out again, once again, to Army National Guard for even hosting this event here too, as Team Optic are still going to continuously take this 50-50. I mean, why wouldn't they? They've already won their place here before. They're looking to win it again here, Fallout. And with this early fighting, though, they are able to take some shots, but their priority right now is to be able to get all this nice loot, by the way, starting things off with Skittles, having that purple Evo. The rest of Team Optic, they already have all blue. So they're starting off with a really nice, strong setup right now.
Yeah, that's right. PK there if one of them wants it, and looks like it will be picked up by Skittlecake. So very well looted. And guess what? It's VZD across from them. So a European team is going to be playing on a slight ping disadvantage. And guess what? Optic was able to bully the middle pills, which guarantees 2 shields. And they got a purple and a blue shield as a result. So very, very well equipped and well resourced right now is the Optic Gaming squad. But despite that, VZD still playing really aggressive with a couple sky nades to boot.
Love this. Love seeing this different point of views as well. Look at this. You can see currently, G-Dolphin now moving on top of the roof. Optic Gaming, understanding that they are wrapping around behind them. So the repositioning here from Optic Gaming is really smart. But VZD, if they decide to take their time for this fight, this is where the third party is going to be prone to coming in.
That's right, and this is where VZD, obviously G-Dolphin with gray shields, is at the disadvantage. And look at Optic, doing such a good job just staying alive and healing back up. Despite having a slight disadvantage in terms of shields, Optic able to reset, but I say that for now as Noct has 25 effective HP, Skittle with only 115. It's a 2v2 here as Duplex goes down as well.
See, right now, if Skittles could get away and pull off this bat, exactly what it looks like, though. He's limited on energy ammo in general, too, as Noct is trying to heal up. They open up the doors for both these players. It looks like it is going to be a full reset here for both teams. VZD were trying to heal up themselves, but they didn't pull up shield bat. They didn't have the opportunity to get that loot.
This is where Seer is just so annoying. Goes for the res, maybe either baiting it or maybe going for it, but got canceled out by the Seer. Q. Zane takes high ground. VJ trying to get aggressive here. And it looks like VJ is going to go down early, but Zane does a good job neutralizing with the 1v1. It all comes down to a final 1v, and just like that, Zane allows them to get res, gets one final knock, and in a 1v, Skittle is going to be hunting, and he will clean it up. All members of Optic survive, and Optic wins this fight.
And look at the health disadvantage, too, that you saw that VZD was in. I mean, Skittles only got brushed up against right there with only a little bit of damage taken. Now he's going to be able to get the rest of Optic Gaming up and ready, and they have so much loot to work with. Again, remember, they had started originally with the health advantage with the Evo shields that they were working with, which was actually the reason why G-Dolphin had met his demise, unfortunately, with the white Evo. He said he's been on that Rampart all week long. He's continuously trying to stick with the Rampart, which could obviously be very interesting sometimes when it comes to these circle positionings and how you want to approach that circle, whether you want to take these early fights and just settle down.
That's right. I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
G-Dolphin on Rampart? That's a thing?
Yep. He's been talking about it all week, too. It's been funny. He says that he's been having absolute fun with the Rampart chaos throughout this week. So he continues the domination with that Rampart throughout this tournament. But they have to approach it differently since this is one of the first squads to... No, they are the first squad to go down for this game number 2. So
Yeah, and I'm guessing they were the first. We didn't see what squad went down early last game because there's 16 squads and it was down to 15 pretty quick. I'm guessing it was also them in the early fight. So they're 0 for 2 now. Vicky, if you're 0 for 2 here and you have 4 games left in the series, are you going to just let that ego fly and drop somewhere else? Especially with 16 players in the map, you could find any other real estate, right?
I would think that they're probably going to still take the 50-50, at least on Stormpoint, because it would be one last map on Stormpoint, and then you would try to GG go next on World's Edge, where you take a way different approach, and you don't want to take the 50-50 on World's Edge. At least that wouldn't be the play, and especially against a team like Optic Gaming.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see how they decide to play game number 3, going 0-2 against Optic so far. Optic, we know, does not like when they're getting bullied or get contested at mill, and they like to make a statement. Well, a statement they have made is we're switching over to element 6, getting all the loot in the world over at that bunker, and we'll be able to capitalize. Meanwhile, we got 2 eggs, some egg yolks, if you will, as we got Moist and then Saucer, Enemy, and Bronzy well positioned early. Again, fast rotation. Moist with this team comp, that's how you want to play it. You want to early rotate and bunker up. And Moist is able to do that on both northern and southern zones here. It's impressive.
Yeah, and that really does highlight how quick they are with the rotate, which means that they're denying themselves some loot, and they're probably just going to be looting on the way already, not trying to take control over any major POS, as Corpa is going to be able to make this rotation around. You saw that Moist was already situated inside one of those egg-shaped buildings that you were talking about, so was Team FA, and taking the high ground right here, it looks like they just want to wait because they could take the high ground, but they also have the 50-50 where when they get that next beacon, they're going to be able to decide whether they want to rotate on the other side of this bunker or if they want to still contest from the high to low ground where those two teams are taking up the real estate of those buildings.
So again, things will slow down a bit here, and we got Corpa not too far, playing slight edge, and they'll be able to maintain and hold on to this positioning here just on the top of command center. It's a really, really good spot for them as it currently stands, and we will keep an eye on them on their rotate through. Meanwhile, let's take a look at some other teams here. We got this northern side of the map over towards the wall, and we got, of course, teams like the bipods and others are going to have to rotate from pretty darn far. Look at the bipods actually still in zone. They're going to be taking their time playing edge here instead.
A lot of these teams like Optic Gaming who like to take the circle edge of circle fights take their time usually, but they are denying themselves some of that KP. Although Optic Gaming obviously with that early 50-50, that's fine for them, but this is usually their game plan. Other teams though, as you can see, taking their time, making their way to that fight, but that's going to be happening right on the southern point of command center. That's going to be a lot of noise for that other squad. As you can see, Marshkage actually just waiting for them on the other side. They can actually hear that probably from that distance. So that's going to be a good opportunity for them to actually circle keep the team that wins that fight.
Yeah, that's right. So a comment before the storm, you see AIM here on screen. Again, big story with AIM. They, of course, played with 2 substitutes, but still did pretty darn well at LGS champs. Yarka and Uchako, a duo has been playing together for a long time, the Spanish and Portuguese duo, formerly Kick Esports. They've been under quite a bit of change, different thirds, but finally feel like they found themselves a very, very talented third in Nags. Big decision for Nags to leave E6 and join this team. And we'll see who comes out on the better side of that coin toss. But overall, you got to think AIM is really well positioned going into Season 3 of the LGS Pro League in EMEA. Vicky.
Now, look at the way that 100 Thieves are playing, too, here, Fallout. Anu has painted a picture for the rest of 100 Thieves in the southern part of this rock, and he is looking like Picasso out here, just looking out for a lot of these other teams, seeing where they're going to be rotating. Of course, we already noted 2 dome-shaped buildings over by the side of 100 Thieves have already been taken up. We saw another team, obviously, inside of the armory, too, trying to get some of the extra loot. It's already opened up, so they finished, but it looks like they're just using it as a way, as some makeshift cover, before they're forced to rotate out of there.
We got Barely Asian and Reflex Team Army National Guard nearby as well. Again, we'll probably say it every game because we have to, based on the gratitude that we have for the servicemen and women of this country. Big shout out to our Army Reserves and Army National Guard team represented today and also representing our country and serving our countries. We got Matafe and Bosch. This is your pick to win game number 2 here. They're in a tough rotate, and they might have to go through a team that we know is nearby here in Command Center.
Yeah, this is the difficult part here too, when you're forced to rotate around. Taking the other direction actually would have set them on the low ground and put them in a worse choke point. So I like this decision to go through the bunker, but remember, there was that team that was on the high ground that could put them in a good position to circle keep them. And speaking of circle keep, look at this one, C9 with a ready red Evo shield, by the way. They've been out of some fights, it looks like, and now they're going to be able to actually find out which of these squads are rotating from the outskirts. I'm thinking it is Optic, actually, and we got the gold knockdown shield to be able to get Skittle Cakes back in the fight.
That's right. And this is an interesting fight for Optic, who again loves to continue to fight, take these edge fights, and has been playing really risky this entire game in game number 2. Really tight and really close early fight that they had against VZD, and now on the late rotate should be okay, but they do have a Valkyrie to their name. They'll all heal back up, pop that Valkyrie ult, and hope they can get themselves good positioning. Just like we said, Optic this used to be their bread and butter. Really, this used to work so well for them. Finding God spot despite these late rotations has been working so well for them so far, and obviously right now they're gonna be getting gate kept quite a bit. So without the distance of the Valk ult, with the nerf coming through, they're gonna have to work their way on a continued rotation without necessarily a great position.
I like that decision though, because it was C9 that was circle keeping them, like we saw originally there too. So with that redeploy, they're also going to be able to get information with the Valkyrie passive to see if they're still there, or if they're going to continuously hold the other end to see if they're going to just try to gatekeep them. So it looks like they are just going to take a longer rotate and take their time for that next circle. We take a look at some other squads here taking their time. Looks like this rest of these squads have been actually Team National, or rather Team our Army National Guard, just taking their time, looking ahead to see where these other teams are, because you can see Drippin' and Heat, they're right ahead of them.
Yeah, that's right. BR Demons and Drippin' and Heat nearby, Team Army National Guard nearby. So this could be a 3-way fight here on the edge towards Cascade Falls, just depending how these rotates end up coming through. BR Demons. Well, they're called BR Demons for a reason. 3 absolute demons on this team. Again, we talked about Vayne earlier, former national champion, or actually, national technically. It was an A Pro League in Season 1 of the ALGS Champs with the 100 Thieves, playing with Aiden and Reeds, 2 relative newcomers on the scene who are so incredibly talented individually, very good arenas players when competitive arenas was kind of popping off.
Yeah.
And, of course, their transition to BR has been really, really great as well.
It's nice that you note that here, too, because it really does highlight their play style in general. They are a very aggressive team. I mean, look at their team composition alone. They have a lot of information with the team right in front of them. They have the blowdown with Reeds picking them already, and it's just the other squad that's actually uphill. With BR Demons seeing this fight, though, they are at a positional disadvantage, so they're just going to disengage, but Reeds doesn't have that mobility. He's got an ult, but he doesn't want to use it just to be able to get away and hide this entire time. So he's going to try to slide down that hill. He's going to try to pop that shield bat, and they're going to be able to just try to take position inside of these buildings, because they want to be able to go uncontested for that next rotation, since it looks like the next circle's a little far from them.
Yeah, and the double scan, double recon, legend comp with Vayne running Seer and Reeds on Bloodhound is obviously insane and ranked, and insane for high kill aggressive games. With only 16 teams in this lobby, you're not going to be able to get the KP that you necessarily want with that team comp. Meanwhile, Doc and the boys are chilling and struggling. In fact, they are the co-mayors of Shambles Town right now, as they're getting gate kept in zones. It's going to be really tough for them to get out of this. Claypex going to get spotted out here of the Army National Guard, and this is where this BR Demons team comp works really, really well.
Absolutely, and this is where they're going to start fragging out here too. Remember, it's about that heavy damage. As you can see, the information with the health too, really helping out Aiden follow up. They get the first knock. They're going to be able to get the second knock right here, and that's going to be Team Army National Guard eliminated in 15th now. Here comes a Seer ult unleashed. We saw that there was already another squad that was hanging out in the inside of these buildings, but they're going to hang out on the outskirts. They're not going to have to worry too much about the intel actually bothering them, but it's just them trying to cover their backs here, Follow. Sometimes you have to do that behind you to see if there's any other third parties that are interested in actually trying to contest.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I'm not sure which team popped that Seer ult behind them.
I think that was them.
Do you think they threw it just as a defensive, cautious Seer ult?
Yeah, to see.
Really?
Just in case. I feel it's. I mean,
better safe than sorry.
Vayne
Seer ult, yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's Seer. His Seer
Yeah.
ult's recharging now. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I guess better safe than sorry, and Seer's ult recharges really fast. So I guess not too bad for that ult right there. Meanwhile, NRG gonna farm up against C9. Rocker will be the last one alive here. Former member of NRG. We'll be talking about that a lot this pro league. Is the big decision to replace Rocker with Gildersons. And Rocker immediately joins the C9 roster, hopefully more motivated than ever, but right now needs to be extra motivated to win this 1v3.
It's going to be difficult. I mean, this is NRG. They got 2 red Evo shields. They see the lone rat running away, but Pest Control is calling right now as Guild's going to be able to move into the side. He's also got that lovely car with the purple extended light mag on it. Gets the crack, and in a sandwich, you could put down that Seer ult, but there's only so much you could do as the lone warrior of C9 as they get taken out. 11 squads left right now as NRG are going to be able to quickly loot up. And I do like this position for this next circle as well, Fallout. They're not going to be contested once that circle closes behind them in that choke point, and they know that they're going to be able to clear this entire. But there's a squad actually landing late right behind them, and that squad's going to be in a lot of trouble here too if they get circle kept by NRG.
And wow, this is interesting. We saw the Vayne and BR Demons boys actually rotate all the way over to checkpoint, and little did they know they'd have to go up against a very hungry Optic Gaming, very well looted. But guess what? BRD also very well looted. 4 purple shields, sorry, all purple shields in this fight, and they have an on fire. They got the level up or the refresh from the team that they were able to wipe, the Army National Guard. So, and they're really good in these 3v3 arena fights. We talked about them being great arenas players. This is a scary fight for Optic right now.
Ooh, I love this. So much information for BR Demons now. The scans, the Seer ult getting put down though as it's about to run out. BR Demons see the opportunity to now move in because we saw Vayne use his ult not too long ago. So if that wasn't his is still charging up. They get that crack. You see the Horizon elevator going all the way up. Here comes the EMP though from the Crypto squad waiting on the other side. It's going to be AIM who love running the Crypto, waiting for the opportunity to now clean up shop for any other stragglers coming out of that circle because that circle 3, it is absolutely going to make your eyes water, and AIM didn't even need to overextend to be able to get this KP.
Yeah, and good luck to Optic right now. This is what's so difficult about playing Edge in this current meta, where a lot of these Bunker, Watson, Newcastle team comps are so good. AIM is going to just farm here, stuck in a choke and stuck in no man's land is Optic Gaming, as they'll get eliminated here. So both BR Demons and Optic decide to play Edge, decide to fight on Edge, and they get gate kept by AIM. Really well done for AIM to hear some of that fight going on in checkpoint and to capitalize a couple kill points as well.
Here we go now. It really shows you the patience that holding these final circle positions really go the long way, so that way you could just start farming a lot of these teams that are just funneling into the circle, into those choke points that you see. Energy, hearing the drone coming in and out. That's going to be AIM like we saw before. They're the team running that Crypto. Not too worried here at the same time. That is amazing information for AIM, but they are on the other side, and they already know that they're inside of these buildings. Looks like there was another Crypto drone flying around originally. I saw 2 in the little mini-map right over there. Of course, as we are on that spectator cam, we can see where a lot of these teams and their approaches to seeing where other squads are going to be rotating. But NRG taking their time, hearing some fights. They're not going to be moving from this spot because there are 9 squads left, and look how tiny this circle is going to be.
Yeah, that's right. NRG with 2 fully kitted red Evo shields and 1 gold Evo shield for shield cell and syringe double heals. They're going to be in a really good spot. I called NRG to win game 2 as my general prediction. We'll see if they can be in a good spot to do that. Nick Merckx, I'm not sure if the rest of the bipods are live behind him. We got a quick view of Nick. I don't know if he's ratting alone in solo or if the rest of his team is nearby. But we also got Bosch, which is your prediction to win this one. So basically a battle of the Titans here in just a moment.
Playing so well too. Let's not forget how they did in that last game. I believe they had like 8 total kills. They were doing a lot of damage. Now with the Skyward Dive, 100 Thieves. Faxon falling so low. He's literally won. They had to split up from him because if Faxon gets taken down, the rest of 100 Thieves will drop. And now they're going to be able to split up. They're going to try to find a good spot, but a lot of these spots have already been taken up. I think that may be 100 Thieves landing on top of the other squad running the double taser comp.
Yeah, and if anyone's going to get knocked here, it's going to be Vaxlon as the best person because you have a chance for Newcastle to bunker up. You have a chance for Watson to drop fences and drop a pylon, and Newcastle can get the free res. So again, 100 Thieves profits, and that's why this bunker team comp is so good. But let's flip back over to this fight. The bipods plus Aprizi against Bosch, against NRG, with the Storm against their backs here. And now not a whole lot of cover to their name. It's going to be a really tough fight.
By follows, they were taking their time. They're going to be able to move all the way in. Nice grenade toss right there. Deez is going to be able to move in. He already got the crack originally, but avoiding the Arc Star himself, he's going to be on the high ground where a lot of other teams are going to be taking their shots at him. They've lost out on Nick Merckx, and Deez doesn't have a shield, only leaving up to things where Aprizi has a full health.
Aprizi needs to do something miraculous here. They're going to actually just say thank you so much to the entirety of the Bosch squad for helping them out, but Bosch is going to come through and try to push. Using the knockdown shield brilliantly is Deeds, and they're going to get sandwiched here, and just like that, NRG will get eliminated. So the tripods do a good job just surviving and waiting for Bosch to help them, and they will stay alive for now. But the key word is for now, because Bosch is nearby. Will they take this fight? Yes, they will.
That was absolutely huge. Yep, they are, and they see that there's already a knocked player on the other side, so why not push in this situation? Yeah, E6 is the one that cleaned up energy, so they're going to be able to move in. You can see Aprizi falling incredibly low. Meanwhile, E6 have shield swaps if they really want to. Now Aprizi gets sent down, and only leaves one last member left for the bipods.
Yeah, bipods will be knocked out of this lobby as E6 will come in and eat up that the entirety of the kill points right there. All 3 teams. It was Bosch, it was NRG, and it was tripods. Element 6 now. Fully kitted Evo shields for each of them, but they do have to hit a rotate. We do see a Crypto and Lifeline in display here. So I said last game, why run Lifeline when you can run Newcastle? But of course, E6 says, nope. We know that the couple teams in EU, and in particular this E6 squad, has been running Lifeline as of late. That free res is great to get right back in the fight and keep shooting, and E6 is making it work.
E6, interesting here. Crypto, the lifeline.
Yep.
I mean, not something you get to see every day in professional Apex esports, that's for sure. But remember what I said, I love the change up when it comes to different compositions. You see Slayer's just hanging out behind that rock. You see the res coming down here. E6 want a piece of that action. Four squads left right now as E6 are playing off the other side. It was Moist that was also running that Daybird, that double taser composition. So they're going to be taking their time as now AIM, the other squad running the Crypto, is going to be able to try to take some shots, but they're down a member.
Yeah, is this season 6 all over again? We got Crypto back in full display.
Oh,
Two
no.
Cryptos left, make it one. Iarka is going to go down all up to Uchako. Last alive, hits the Horizon elevator, but gets taken out right after. So E6 says we are the better Crypto for now, as Case Swinney is going to heal back up to full. 3 squads remain. We know that Moist is one of them, and I think 100 Thieves might be the other.
Believe so. They were on the other side originally here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take a look. With E6 playing on the other side of this rock, you can see Unlucky on the other side.
Bosch.
No, it's not. Yes, Bosch, they're still in this. They've been getting so many kills, fragging out right now. Moist Esports on the other side as well. 3 squads left now, Fallout.
Yeah, Walty's gonna get a first knock here. That's a big one. That's what Walty's great at. Tip of the spear, breaking ice for his team, but they will likely get a res and reset. Moist does not need to force anything here. You have Watson and Newcastle on your team. Slow play this, and you have the Newcastle ult almost ready. You'll get some artificial cover and kind of no man's land at the center of the zone. Really well positioned right now is Moist. And Bosch back to full health. They get the res. E6 full team as well. We got a 3v3v3 for the bread here, Vicky.
Yes, E6, Bosch, Moist right now playing on each corner of this final circle. Once everyone needs to move in, though, one squad already making the aggression. E6 actually using that EMP as an opportunity to reposition. Very interesting here because it gives the impression to other teams that this is the opportunity for them to third party.
Yeah, that's right. And hoping for a shield in that supply drop. Not going to get it, and Swinney's going to get knocked. So the quick EMP to reposition, not going to work out. EMP doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Black hole is going to be immediately destroyed. Element 6 is going to get aped essentially by the entirety of Bosch. Slayer's last alive, and we know how good he is in these fights. Oh my gosh, he's going to melt and frag one. The benefit of controller with an SMG close range. Meanwhile, Jaro and Moist will just watch and wait and clean up the rest of this lobby here. They should be well positioned to finish this one out.
Moist, once again, top 2 situation here, but they have the health advantage, they have the positioning advantage, and Moist Esports take game number 2.
Moist Esports with the consistency. Second in game 1, first in game 2. Can the Aussies do it and continue the Apex South reign on high ping?
All of your chances into World's Edge to make a comeback.
Yeah, that is indeed an interesting call. I mean, VZD feels really confident in these fights, but they're giving pills to Optic every time, which means Optic guaranteed is going to have the shield advantage, and it happens again. 2 purples now. It's an even greater shield advantage than they had last game, where they had 2 blues. So Optic, just based on resource and economy alone, will have the upper hand. Not to mention, you got Skittle Cakes and Knocked in the close range with Duplex supporting. It's a really, really good team fighting comp. VZD obviously really well skilled, but when you get down shields like that, it's going to be looking really scary for VZD. Look at this.
Yeah, especially since G-Dolphin, again, on the rampart. He's not moving off of this pick. He loves it. He likes to cause chaos, too. I've hung out with this guy in real life before, and he is the embodiment of chaos here. As you can see him trying to wrap the corner a little bit. He sees the information on the purple Evos, but they are landing their shots. A lot of pressure going out to Optic as Noct hides behind the closed doors.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So Skittle Cakes with a very aggressive play. Noct's going to get absolutely aped right now. He has to run and reset. Dupe says, well, don't come to me. I'm trying to block a door and heal, as he's going to get tagged up. So VZD is bullying Optic right now. Despite having gray shields to their names, it is VZD that can't let Optic reset. That was the problem with last game. They continually let them reset and heal back up.
Exactly, and they're doing that right now. I saw it. The moment that G-Dolphin was at that door, he was not scared to use that Sheila. But this is information that they have right now. Deleting out that barrier so that way that damage multiplied output is not going to be in their favor. So VZD now playing from the back end. Double zero once again to have that information, but they are going all the way up. Get ready, say hello to my little friend. G-Dolphin with the rampart. Sheila coming down to get that knock.
That was insane. The triple elevator or lift up into the Rampart ultimate. Scarface call was perfect, and VZD will get the revive as Duplex going to drop right now, and it looks like they won't. So 2v2 right now for the bread.
Oh, look how hungry they are. VZD, G-Dolphin is ready. He knows that if they could get this res, the reset will be so much better in their favor because Optic Gaming have the high ground, so they have a bit of the advantage. But having these barriers, having the rampart is actually going to really help them out.
Oh, and just like that, VJ's gonna fly in and get another knock on Duplex. G-Dolphin down to no HP, but he has the Rampart shields. He's gonna be able to heal back up. VJ's able to get a shield swap, or at least a shield battery off, and the 2v1 gives VZD the upper hand. VJ cleans up over knocked, and just like that, VZD does it.
They were literally one. Aside from the fact that VJ had also got the shield swap, so that way he could still contest that last member of Optic Gaming. That was still so scary. Look, Fallout, they tried it twice. They may have failed, but they were able to do it in this Game 3 on Stormpoint, the final game on Stormpoint. And this is so important because this is going to leave the overall leaderboard in shambles for Optic Gaming because they wanted to maintain where they were at. And I believe they were top 3 in general in the overall leaderboards at that point, but they took so long in that fight that look at this. NRG, they're already coasting forward. They're already going to see what all this action is happening over by Mill.
Wow. But again, VZD gets all the resources and 3 purple shields. They've already hit reset. Any team that tries to front them on Mill, plus they have Rampart shields and barriers, they're really well positioned here, VZD. Again, they got to be really, really cautious because they can get third party by taking an aggressive fight here. Nathan going to get gifted with his gold shield. But nonetheless, VZD well poised if they can execute for a big game here, which they needed because they got taken out early game. First 2 games.
Super important here. NRG are actually just rotating away from Mill, and I think it's because they heard those barriers come up, just like you were saying, Fallout. They understand they can hang around the area for as long as they want here to maybe try to go for the third party, but they saw that the opportunity escaped them. If they want to engage in that fight, it's going to take way too long because of the Rampart that G-Dolphin is on, and C9 already have a positional advantage. There's a Rogue Trident up in the distance here. Beautiful view here for C9, as you can see them trying to take some shots, but this is a really good spot because sometimes we do see the circle pull on the outskirts towards that island that you see the Trident driving towards. So now C9 is going to try to contest any squad that's going to be rotating away from the Mill area towards them.
Competitive Apex has just become an RPG. As we have a yacht in the Mediterranean, just coasting and enjoying the coastline. As Cloud9 says, no, let's get back to playing competitive Apex here. They're going to obviously bully that Trident team who's just going to be roaming on the outskirts. I wonder what team that was. It could have been the Tripods. Meanwhile, NRG with a very fast rotation. Seer ult's going to go down, and a good scan comes through as well from Sweet. They are going to melt Rocker. NRG on their former teammate. It's Gilderson's over Rocker. That is absolutely metaphorical for what has really been a great trade here overall for NRG.
Absolutely, and now they're the ones booting everybody else off of the high ground right here too. This is a good position for them to be in. They're going to be able to get a clear view of the other squads that are hanging inside of that building. You see, with the way that they're playing this composition too, of course, Sweet having all the information allows him to get even more better positioning for the rest of his squad with the shot calls that he puts down. There's a team playing off of this low ground right here. Here comes Nathan with a perfect follow-up.
Yep, that's going to be the Seer special. Ew. Good luck, Cloud9, surviving and staying alive and hiding as you got a Seer hunting you down, and it's Sweet, one of the better Seers or best Seers in North America. Just like that, Cloud9, big brand, goes down to NRG, a bigger brand right now in Apex Legends.
I kind of grimaced a little bit right there, Follow, because you heard how quick that Devo was just ready to unleash, and that's what happens when you got the turbocharger in the replicator. But you know what? The smartest thing you could possibly do right there, especially taking advantage of what's in the crafting rotation. So now we get to take a look at Bashu. I've taken actually a much slower approach to this game than we had seen in the last 2 games, which is play outside a circle. They still have all blue Evo shields, but they got some picks already. You can see that KP already listed on the very top.
And you just saw the leaderboards pop up on screen right there. It is Bosch on top right now, Vicky. So great calls from you. Over Moist in second. Bosch needs another consistent game here in game 3, but obviously playing in zone right now. And we have BR Demons nearby. We got Team Dr. Disrespect nearby. It's going to be a much tougher game for Bosch here if they can survive this.
Time to see right now as we take a look at where the circle is going to be pulling over by Cenote Cave. A lot of these buildings actually are free real estate for some of these squads that want to hold the southern point, where you can see Moist actually sharing some of that with Nick Merckx and company. You can see them now, Energy moving away from the high ground as they jump on top of this building. This is one of those buildings that we have seen the circle finish on. Some of these teams want to take advantage of the fact that this could be where that circle is going to be pulling, but we got the Caustic out and about. They heard us. They put down the Nox grenade to save that side, actually controlling some of that space, and now that's kind of forces Energy to kind of go through the only window that this building can provide, but they have no opportunity maybe if they can get around in the corners to actually peek through. You can see them getting stunned a little bit, but they get the immediate burn down.
Yeah, look at Sweet patiently waiting to take the damage for his team. And that's why Watson's so good on Storm Point, but you won't really see a lot of Watson on World's Edge. The buildings are designed in a way that you can actually hide the edge of those fences, whereas in World's Edge, it's a little harder to do that. But instead, it doesn't matter. NRG going to find themselves an elimination here on Jurovic. He goes down, and the rest of E6, well, we'll see how far off they are.
See Nathan just cleaning things up. They're going to be waiting inside this building, but this is the forced real estate that they needed here. They needed to fight for this because, again, we've seen circles sometimes pull in this direction, but it's also some extra KP for energy that they desperately need, like we've been talking about before. I think they were overall 7. Now we get to see Los Trifolos, the 2 duo here for the tripods. They're working together with a Breeze, and now he's going to be able to move in. They clean up Moist, and Moist, the squad that had remained on top consistently for placement, have been wiped out in 11.
Yeah, and it's the tripods who are going to finally take out Moist on, really the Moist special, which sounds dirty, by the way, which is early rotate and find yourself a very, very good place to just post up. The tripods say, nuh-uh, Cenote Cave is our home. We ain't going to let that happen. And they're going to take out all members of Moist. Nice shot from the tripods holding down their fort. Meanwhile, Sweet finds himself in a really bad spot here. So again, trying to be the tip of the spear. He's going to get knocked, but Nathan does a good job neutralizing with a knock on Enemigo. It's Bronzy with a great flank, and he's going to get the knock immediately following. So Sweet almost is able to heal back up. Now it's a 2v2. Nathan gets another one on Saucer, though. He is insane.
Oh, trying to break down that door. The circle's closing in, though, here. They are hanging out by the edge of the circle, so they're fine. But you see Guild just waiting for an opportunity before another squad is actually going to be able to take some shots onto Energy.
Yeah, Guild does a good job recognizing that door's going to open immediately as he leaves. The third party, though, might be the only thing that gets Energy killed here. Nathan's gonna have to jump in the zone. Nathan's making a play right now. Oh my god, Nathan, you are insane. What he's done in this fight was unbelievable. He takes out all 3 members of FA. Nathan is untouchable right now.
Insane right there. I love the way he was able to go on the side, because now E6 see the green light to move in for the third party. Here comes that crypto EMP coming in too. That black hole sucking literally everything in, including the trident itself. But Lithin actually going down from E6. Energy were able to get those shield swaps, get the quick reset, and E6 are still being down. But it's the lifeline that comes through, gets the res with the gold knockdown shield, and they clean up Energy as they go down in 9th.
And Vicky, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you've heard. Have you heard about the lifeline thing that was uncovered as of late? Sniped
no,
on a co.
actually,
Okay, so you're gonna love this because you're a giant nerd. People from the chat might not know this. Basically, pro players, as pro players do, found out that if you have lifeline and you have a purple shield and purple knockdown shield on the lifeline, your care package every single time is gonna have a gold item in it.
What?
Usually.
Was that on purpose?
That's just the design of how it works. Yeah, that's how the care package works. Is basically based on your inventory and where you're at is how the lifeline package will come down on. And again, I heard this at TwitchCon. Was chatting with a couple pro players, so I can't say I've confirmed this myself 100%. But that's why you see lifeline with the gold knockdown shield right there. I believe is people are starting to figure that out, and that's why a lot of people are starting to run lifeline.
Yeah, that and of course of getting that res with that extra health is always so great. Was when we saw some of those swap ups instead of the gold backpack being the gold knockdown there too, as we see a fight going down for Bosch. But Bosch has been on the up when it comes to winning a lot of these fights, having the advantage. They love taking these fights, and BR Demons are actually down a member, playing this out as a duo, maybe not able to even get reads. Spanner right now, his main is incredibly low. Oh, but finding a lot of these heavy shots from Aiden, gets double the cracks. Can he now move in to find that opportunity? He's trying to force them up so he can get the finish.
Yep, Aiden and Matafi going to trade a knock, and now Aiden going to be left. I believe it's a 1v1, but I'm not sure if there's 2 members alive on the flip side of Bosch. And whoever it is, it's actually going to be 2. They are hunting right now. Aiden in a 1v2 needs to go huge, and Bosch is going to win it. Kudos to Matafe, Unlucky, and Co. They will clean up, and they survive that edge awkward position that they were in. Another big game looming here.
More KP in their pockets. They're hungry. They are feasting. Thanksgiving came early here because they are looking great. Even in this game number 3 before we jump into World's Edge. Now we're going to be seeing some rotations coming in from some of these squads in the southern point. You see E6 still hanging on the cusp, but they have the information from the crypto drone without having to overextend, getting that beacon, knowing where that next circle is going to be pushing, and they already see that another squad beat them to it. They probably have that information too, as Case Winnie's going to be able to get some shots taken at him, but he's going to back up just for right now. They're playing up the high ground of Cenote Caves right now, but at the same time, they want that real estate inside of these buildings just based off of their composition alone, so they want to be able to be careful or else they're going to run into some trouble.
7 squads remain in a Cenote finish. We know the tripods are well positioned inside Cenote, but they don't have that bunker team comp. They have more of an edge fighting comp, so we'll see how they will fare with the crypto that'll just be poking and prodding and calling them out. Actually, I take that back. Did the tripods get taken out here by Corpa? I think they did. We'll see if we can verify and confirm that the tripods, whether or not they are in or out. But Corpa, Kimchu, Trix, and Zerifer alive and well.
See the crypto drone just flying around a bit, getting some extra information. Again, that's going to be E6 that have been running that crypto aim as well. But E6 is closer right there by the area. They're going to also see what's going on inside of some of these buildings. See Nick Mercs with the tripods. They're just going to be waiting from the inside there, trying to take some shots at the crypto drone. That's annoying them just for right now, but they're looking great in terms of their evil shields, full purple still. I believe there's still 4 squads left, and every one of these squads are taking a much more passive approach here with E6, just looking on, just looking on to see what a lot of these other teams want to do, because there's no reason for any of these teams to leave or give up these buildings when the circle is going to be pulling here.
All right, so as things slow down here a little bit, we'll break down some of the big stories here. Obviously, you all know Nick Mercs, Saprizi, and Deeds. But on the flip side, you got Corpa featuring Zerifer, a player 20 years old, I believe, from Slovakia, who competed in Overwatch when he was like 14, 15 years old. And then Apex came out and wanted so bad to be a top Apex player. Has had a up and down career, a bit of a roller coaster career in Apex, took a bit of a break, tried his hand in Valorant, came back to Apex, and has been really grinding content and competitive play on the T-Rex squad that was so close, yet so far from qualifying from Pro League a few times. As Zerifer now playing with Kimchu and Trix. We'll see if he can finally have the breakout season in Pro League that he's been looking for.
You'll have to see some of those stories too. The comeback, of course, not giving up, trying again, taking a different approach here. Corpa not going to be moving from this spot here, but with some of these other teams making their slow rotation in. See BJ saying G Dolphin after winning that fight. It's the elevator with the Sheila once again. Fallout, this is what I see in my nightmares. I feel like every single time I see my sleep paralysis demon, it's just Rampart over in the side holding onto the Sheila. And every time I hear that gun ramped up, that's when you know you have to give him that space. That's not my real estate. That's your real estate. That's all good. You could all take that. And G Dolphin, though, losing the trade out originally, this is very scary, though. Playing in this spot on the edge of the circle and on the low ground could be very risky for the squads that are looking to circle.
Yeah, that's right. If you look up Fear on YouTube, it's a video of Rampart just melting you. Meanwhile, G Dolphin here are going to say, yeah, we'll keep cleaning up. I did the damage. I broke ice initially with my ult, but the third party's going to come in. G Dolphin with the AV8 in hand, turns, top tap, and does a good job. E6 can be eliminated to the hands of VZD, but they got to be careful for third party.
Here we go. They have to go in for those shields that they already got already, and now they're going to get set up with that makeshift redeploying here too. Going to be able to get some extra barriers going in. They lost on VJ again originally here for that initial fight, but they are going to be able to pull off these medkits. That other team doesn't want to overextend because the circle's closing in right behind them. VZD are forced to actually just go forward into that zero.
Birdie in chat says, not Fallout. The nightmare is what's happening right now in the third parties. That is true. That is nightmare number one.
That is true.
We got Bosch right now. Going to have to drop off high ground, back to low ground. We know how good they've been in these edge fights, but Matafe is going to go down. That's costly. That's scary. Scurry is the one who does it. We know that VZD is nearby as well, so they will be the third partier now, I believe, as Tyler FPS gets taken down. But they lost VJ, and instead they say, no, let's rotate early with Rampart, and let's try and bunker ourselves up for a late game high points finish. Nice shot from VZD.
100 Thieves as well, winning the trade against Bosch, going absolutely crazy in that team fight, playing around the landmark of that middle rock by Cenote Cave so well there too, dancing around in, and of course the Newcastle barrier, just so handy to be able to loot up when you appropriately need to without getting contested by a third party.
That's right. 100 Thieves have been very consistent. Last game, we thought they were going to have another big game after winning game number 1, but we didn't see it on screen. They got taken out on some type of edge fight. This time, they're playing edge again. And they will have to try and find themselves a rotate. I don't believe they're in zone. We'll see what their rotate's going to look like here in a second. Meanwhile, look at this. The bipods, aka tripods or bipods +1, whatever you want to call them, playing with the Prezi in the same exact building that they found themselves looting at the very beginning of the game. Patience is king, but they will have themselves having to rotate as well. And look at the circle at the top left of your screen. A lot of no man's land, but one team does have that building that will be in.
Tripods are in there. You saw a team. Army National Guard are in the other building there too. 5 squads left in total. Now, as a lot of these squads are going to be forced to give up this real estate and funnel into the line of sight of some of these other squads like 100 Thieves that were waiting on the outskirts to actually contest them.
Yeah, Nyx obviously has the info, courtesy of the Seer passive, and you're gonna get a nice little scan and give himself some information that says, is there only one person here? Probably not. We only got one with the scan, and we'll see how they decide to play this as the bipods will have to make their rotate here in just a bit. Claypex and ARNG, it's the Army National Guard still alive here. Look at the flank. Oh, you wanted to see him connect for a little bit more right there. You thought he had it, but he missed that shot by just an inch.
You can see the fuse coming out here too, but it could actually work as a double-edged sword when you have so many Watsons in the lobby in general. Here comes the Mortar Flames though, coming in, circulating the entire building here. Talk about all that information now, especially with so many Seers. You can see Reflex playing from the inside, the Black Hole coming in as well. So much chaos and such a big mess here. You see the Arc Stars. He's actually getting 3 here in that situation with the Arc Star. Currently, D-Dolphin also getting the knock onto Nick Merckx. 2 of these squads that are waiting on the outskirts of these buildings are getting so much KP out of this.
Wow. Apree's textbook Black Hole into the 3 Arc Stars, into nothing but damage and 3 kill points. Nice shot from Apree's right there. Using the ultimate of the Horizon to perfection. Exactly how I want to play that right in that scenario. Nick does go down, though, unfortunately, through a plank, literally, as we got 100 Thieves on the outskirts, but now the outskirts are the inskirts, because look at the top left. Again, if those are maybe newer to Apex, this last zone is a very slow zone stop, and the very center of the circles where it's going to go this time, as you see the line on the screen at the top left, is where the zone will be pulling to. It's not always the very center of the zone, though. Sometimes it could be the north or the east or south or west. In this case, 100 Thieves is going to profit as the zone will be rotating right to them.
It's a very similar situation to what we had seen when 100 Thieves won game number 1. They saw the situation and the final fights happening inside of these close quarter buildings, and they just waited on the outskirts, are going to wait for their opportunity to move in and be able to capitalize off of the third party when they're able to actually see everything from the high ground instead.
Shield swaps for days. It's a good situation here for NRG, but they dropped that Moby, again, in the same kind of spot through the plank that Nick got knocked in, so I don't know if they're going to be able to get that revive with the mobile respawn beacon. They might try. Nick, of course, will immediately have himself access to all types of loot. Zane's gonna go down here. Well, that was a little bit of an aggressive play. Not sure what the thought process was there for VZD, but they end up being cannon fodder. Kraber in the hand of Axlon, and he's gonna connect over Seer, and they might just be third-partying their way into a victory. Yes, they will. Corporate gets taken out, and Tripods are gonna get taken out right after. They don't even care. A second place finish as a team of 2 right there. Great job by the Tripods, and even better job by 100 Thieves. They win 2 out of 3.
The Fallout, they do 2 out of the 3 on Stormpoint, and they're looking fast. The game, we've been having a bit of a mixed match in mid-game between a lot of these other teams going back and forth between either taking these 50-50s, despite it not all these POIs being taken up, or even a lot of these early just fights in general.
Well, here we go. Back to World's Edge, and it feels so good. Something is just right in the world with World's Edge and competitive Apex. Let's take a look at the map here. If we can flip back to that map just to see where teams are going to be dropping. But it looks like we have 3 dropping in Skyhook. I actually make, 3 teams. It's 100 Thieves alongside E6 and Team Dr. Disrespect. And we're going to have a pretty contested Skyhook here, Vicky. You don't really see 3 teams in competitive Apex, 20 team lobbies, let alone in 16 team lobbies.
That's what I'm saying too. It's very strange that we are seeing this when not all POIs are taken up. It is literally the Wild West out here, and 100 Thieves are looking to clean up more of these teams. They just came back from getting a win. You see Scurry taking a lot of damage there. He's a little separated when Vaxilon's right here to try to give him suppressed fire. But this is going to be difficult because with so many other teams in Skyhook, you're just inviting these other squads to come into third party.
Yeah, that's right. Good start for 100 Thieves. They were able to take out 1 for Team Dr. Disrespect, but they got to be careful because E6, we know they like to play aggressive. By the way, we're keeping an eye out in chat here. Birdie brought up a good point. Bosch has been doing really, really well in the Me Attorneys. Whoever picks them up, whichever org has a winning team. Agreed with that, but I got to pause that thought for now because right now 100 Thieves are in a really rough spot here. Sentinel in the hands of 1 member of 100 Thieves. They will clean up, though. Z-Laner doing what he can. I respect it. The competitive VR player, content creator, and pro, but he gets taken out by 100 Thieves.
Always got to pop off a little bit, especially when you see that shot come out, but they cleaned up Dr. Disrespect's team. All welcome here to Apex, where 100 Thieves leave no survivors right now. E6 as well, with amazing loot to work with. Still rocking the same type of composition, though. That's nice to note. They still got the Lifeline, they still got the Crypto and the Horizon, so they've been finding a lot of success with this comp on Stormpoint. It looks like they feel that confidence going into World's Edge as well.
Again, notice what we said about Lifeline. Slayers, aka Lifeline, has the purple shield. They're going to give the purple shield and the purple knockdown shield to Slayers as Lifeline because that will guarantee a gold item in the first care package, which will be coming in about 40% of her ultimate. By the way, ultimate accelerant's going to come through. She might already have the purple knockdown shield because I think they dropped trials. So that's a pretty good combo. Again, with that intel, Lifeline dropping trials to get guaranteed purple items, which means when you drop your supply crate, you're guaranteed a gold item. At least that's what we're kind of hearing. It's a really good situation here for E6.
That's so smart too. Actually having that as your plan and actually maintaining this POI for trials is very important if you're going to be running that lifeline exactly for what you were talking about before, Fallout. So E6 already trying to take that edge. I believe this squad is also top 3. We saw them in 3rd place originally before. So they're looking to not only be passive, but they could overlook a lot of the action happening in Skyhook without getting too heavily involved. They play very passive aggressive before deciding who they want at third party.
Yeah. And if we could, if it's possible, again, not to be making demands, making the life of our amazing observer, by the way, who's been doing a great job catching the action. But if we can see when they drop that Lifeline care package, either next game or this game, that'd be sweet, just to confirm that info. But nonetheless, Moist and Co. going to be dropping over here in Geyser, right next to VZD. We know VZD likes to play aggro. If we learned anything from the first 3 games, it was that. And here we go. They're going to do it again.
There we go, playing off of Geyser could be really tricky with so many choke points from both south and north part of the map, allowing a lot of these teams to go into third party. VZD, though, with the rampart barriers, you see the damage amplified a little bit before it gets shattered right behind them. They're going to be taking the real estate inside of this building. They can block some of those doors with the rampart barriers. Just making sure to heal up real quick, though, right beforehand with the Phoenix kit. But they hear a lot of fighting happening right in front of them, so they note that there is a squad to their north. They're just taking their time to see where they want to rotate beforehand. And
Zane's going to pick that R301 over the G7 Scout. You agree with that, Vicky? You typically roll with the G7, you switch to R301.
Oh yeah, no, that's my favorite. That's my favorite gun in the entire.
R301, yeah, it's fun.
No, well, both.
Oh, the G7.
I like both. I love the G7. Yeah.
So you stick with the G7 over the R3.
Well, I would probably run both of them if I could. G7 gives you that mid to long range that you love to keep in your pocket a lot of times. Also, love using the double tap. It does so much damage so quickly, especially if you aim at the head and it automatically aligns the actual shot for you on the head automatically. Now we get to see some more aggressive play, though, with for other squads here. BR Demons, like we noted before, got a lot of intel between the Bloodhound and the Seer, so it looks like they're moving in, and they got the bow check in their hands, looking like Legless.
That's right. Keep a close eye on Legless themselves. In a moment. Birdie says G7 Volt or R3 PK endgame. Agreed. Yeah, that's
G7 Volt is the best. I love that loadout too.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up though. G7 R3, I've actually always slipped on that because I'm like, 2 light guns. I want to manage my economy a little bit. But and usually your whole team has that R3 as well. Everyone has light ammo because everyone loves that thing. But it's actually not a bad idea for early and mid game. R3 G7, switch to a Volt or a PK late game. I actually might rock with that tonight, girl. Appreciate the inspiration.
Let's go. Now AIM taking the inside of this tunnel. Taking their time. We got a Loba squad. Okay, waiting on the other side. I mean, did somebody call Team Liquid? Where they at? That's usually who I'm used to seeing. You playing the Loba
on Storm Point only. They don't run. They're usually on Loba on World's Edge, I don't believe. So that's actually really interesting.
I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to back in the day. Where they love to be able to hold final circle positioning and rock the Loba, so that way they would just get the loot as the match progresses, which is probably something that we're going to be seeing maybe from the squad who's on the other side of this tunnel. But they got the loot from inside the vault, which is why we saw the black market set up on the outskirts of the tunnel here. AIM understanding that. Maybe you want to play a bit more passive, looking at the economy that they're working with in terms of their shields. You got 2 blues, you still got Hyrule with the white evil shield, but obviously with this drone, they're going to be able to get a lot of intel. Wondering if the EMP is going to get executed, if they're just going to stay bunkered down.
Coming for the late game Storm. I'm going to take this moment of calmness to say, what's up, Magic Cow? I wasn't ignoring your chat, brother. It was, Birdie was posting something related to exactly what we were talking about, so I was just waiting for a moment. To say heard. We'll pass that feedback to our ops team. Maybe we can show some love to the Doc and Co. Obviously hasn't been the best showing for them so far, so they haven't been alive a lot, which has been a little tough to spectate them. We'll try and keep an eye on them as well. Feedback heard, and we'll pass that along. Appreciate y'all being in chat, hanging out with us. All 1,000 of you. We got Twix Mix in the chat. Chico, how y'all doing? Hope you're enjoying some Code Red action, Code Freedom action so far.
Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I definitely am. I'm excited to see how more of these qualifiers are going to play out, especially looking at the way it's already played out on Storm Point right now. You can see the beacon control going in favor of the tripods. Nick Merckx getting some of that information with the rest of the squad. Deed's taking a lot of damage. The door is open. Price is going to be able to get right back inside, help him out a little bit. They're going to reset here inside of this building, but it's important not only with this beacon, but oh man, it's a prize with the Loba. And I got to say, this is my first time in competitive Apex that I get to see that beautiful heirloom. I gotta give it to the Respawn team because it is actually one of my favorite heirlooms that they have.
Yeah, it's actually sick. You love seeing Lobos for that purpose. Meanwhile, NRG, you can see some different team comps here. Sticking with the same Horizon Valkyrie and Seer team comp here, both maps. I believe they ran that on
Oh.
Storm Point as well. But Nathan's gonna get melted by Lifin. So just like that, one member of NRG down, and again, NRG struggling.
Lifins, he has a family. He deleted him. Slayer's also falling a little bit low. He got the shield swap. This is not good news for Energy. Forced to play this as a duo already when they've been getting third party constantly on Storm Point every fight they come out of. This could spell doom for them. I know they are in top 5. I believe 4th here as they get another knock right now. And that's that G7 cleaning things up, putting the nail in the coffin for Energy's life, falling in 14th place so far in this game number 4.
Wow. NRG will slip out of the top 10, surely, with that performance. No kills to their name, I don't believe. Meanwhile, Skittlecakes gets a kill. Nice shot from E6, though. And you'd love to see a team like E6 thriving and surviving and playing so well right now because they're pushing the envelope of meta. I mean, they're running a Seerless team comp. No one dares do that. They're running. I'm trying to remember. Do they have a Valkyrie on their team? I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. We'll have to take a look back. But nonetheless, they're running a non-meta team comp, and it's working out well for them.
It's been always very interesting as Saucer is going to use a replicator real quick. You see G Dolphin with the rest of VZD are still taking up the real estate inside of this building. Look at this load up from Zane. He's got the R3 on the car. Not too many attachments here to work with, and he does manage to get some heavy armor at least to relieve himself from using much more of this light ammo since it does seem a bit limited. He's just rocking one ammo class, which is very smart when you do have that car. It makes it easier to have all that loot inside, and you see G Dolphin melting that one player that's on the high ground on top of Pride Rock. Let them take their time, though. They're not going to fully send it, even if they do get a knock here, because there is still another squad that they're keeping their eye for that's to the south of them, and they're inside actually that next building right over next to them.
It's the G thing, just leveling up his Evo shield. Using the flat line as efficiently as an R301 right there. Good damage at mid-range. That's going to be to the hands of Bronzy and Amigo, the FA team. So I'm excited to see how they will play this. Saucer nearby. They're holding the choke. We know Nick Merckx and the Tripods are right behind them. And we know a couple teams are in the Moist Cave. That's what I've called that Moist Cave since casting ALGS with Daltouche like 9 seasons ago. He called it a very moist cave, and since then I've rolled with that call out. Now we have Moist Esports in competitive Apex. We can call it Moist Esports in the Moist Cave, which is fantastic.
Now they have to go there all the time.
They do. Yeah, there's nowhere else they can drop. In fact, no one really drops there. It's not like a POI you drop on, but they have to drop there.
Now they have no other choice. Reflex also has no other choice but to heal himself. You see the elevator from Tyler as they're going to be able to go all the way up. Here comes the fuse ult, though. We saw the fuse on Storm Point earlier on before his Bosch is going to be able to try to go crazy with some of these picks. Not too sure if this is a squad that's leaving Mill, but that's going to be crucial as Matafi gets immediately melted. Bosch will looks like they're in some trouble, and playing in these close quarters against Fuse, I mean, that's that knuckle cluster that you got to look out for.
Yo, hold up. This is not our Army National Guard team. Sticking it to Bosch, a.k.a. one of the top teams in the leaderboards in this game right now. Shout out to Army National Guard, but guess what? The BR Demons joined the fun. They've been just poking from afar as Reed's going to absolutely fly and take out the Army National Guard. So they, despite getting a first knock on Bosch, they get taken out early. BR Demons now still running that same old recon, scan, heavy, aggro team comp. It's working out well for them. Look at the Fry's going to come through. Reed's is going to lose the 1v to Tyler, but not going to matter as it will be BR Demons on top of that three-way fight.
And coming out of this choke point, too, they're going to have the high ground exiting towards Geyser, which is a nice spot, but we know that the circle isn't going to be pulling closer to them. There's a chance that they could pull towards the choke point that they're going to be on the high ground for, but they are going to have to get a little bit closer, which leaves them a little bit on open ground. As you can see, the Tripods still holding onto the high ground themselves. They've been babysitting this beacon, denying the opportunity for other squads to take that information, which is great here with a lot of teams that rotate in the southern part of World's Edge.
That's a good point. Loba and Newcastle team comps. That's a switch up. They play a little more aggro with a very aggressive Seer Valk team comp on Storm Point, but they're going Loba and Newcastle alongside Seer, I believe is what I saw there. So it's a very, very different play style for the Tripods. I don't know if that's how they play with Aprizi here, if that's an Aprizi thing, or if that's how they play with gentrifying their third as well. But nonetheless, I like the change in team comp here for the Tripods.
Very interesting. Also nice to know 100 Thieves in the feed got eliminated here in 10th place. So that's 100 Thieves out when they were holding on to first place. Bosch had honestly really tried to take advantage of that opportunity to try to at least maybe surpass them. But both of those teams were in a lot of trouble between BR Demons and not too sure who took out 100 Thieves, but still 100 Thieves being out as well as Bosch could actually allow the rest of this lobby to tie things up.
Yeah, and the Tripod's only option is push through choke to BR Demons or push through the Moist Cave, which I'll keep calling it. I don't care what y'all say. against AIM. They choose the Moist Cave, and guess what? It's going to be a Watson team fully bunkered, and we'll see how well this Watson fence is going to do. Are they going to be able to poke prod and destroy the Watson fence? No, not necessarily. It's going to be a tough push for them.
All right, here we go. Scoreboard getting tighter. Tripods are going to be waiting on the edge here. They're on the outskirts of this next circle, but they are going to easily get circle kept if they opt to just commit to this position, because circle 3 obviously makes your eyes water, but they don't want to go from the low to high ground in that choke point next to them. They just want to try to take their chances probably in that choke point, but with those Watson fences set up, where are they going to go? EMP now unleashed. Wrong situation here where they don't, you know, Tripods doesn't have an EMP to get rid of those Watson fences. So Aiden and Reeds, they're going to go all the way up with the alley-oop real quick on the gravity lift. And they are going to be able to be on the high ground to overlook some of the fights happening inside these buildings. Here comes some more intel too with the Bloodhound scan activating the Beast of the Hunt. Can we talk about the placement of that Lifeline care package, by the way?
Yeah, that's right. And someone told me that was very intentionally placed. Smart play right there coming through from E6 as the Lifeline team. BR Demons flying and playing aggro. The ultimate's going to come through again. But no, it's going to be Vayne that gets knocked early. That's a slight misplay. The black hole's going to come in. The nades will follow, but they'll destroy it pretty quickly and back out of dodge. Nice job right here by Lifen. In E6, they are playing so well this game. They'll get the first knock. Gold knockdown shield. So that means they're not going to get nice, easy res back to half shields here, as Aiden is going to try and win this 2v3 if he can. He needs to go huge.
Oh, he lifted him up to try to block him in the doorway, but he missed that PK shot, which is super crucial. Now they have to swap. Reeds coming out on top in that fight, though, is absolutely huge. That gives some time for Aiden to actually pop that shield back. They're going for the reset. This only leaves Lifeline up to survive for E6. Such a good team, but you heard the Shealer coming in. You heard Gene Dolphin break through those doors. Halloween came early for this squad.
VZD third parties and picks up Aiden, picks up E6 as well, and they will profit. BR Demons eliminated to the hands of VZD, and I think E6 was able to sneak out and survive with at least one player left. But take a look at this. Cloud9 still alive. We haven't seen NRG in this game, I don't believe, but we do know 100 Thieves and Bosch are both out. Great point from Chico. The scoreboard's going to get tighter as a result of this game.
This is insane right now. What a shakeup going on to World's Edge. I mean, we were expecting this. This is what happens when we play on more of that home turf that some of these teams feel way more comfortable than Storm Point. So C9 taking the real estate inside these buildings is absolutely huge. They don't have to worry about the Watson fences like some of the team comps we've been seeing. The Seer, though, giving them the information over by the other side to let them know where Zach Mazer is hanging out in. They're just going to be waiting on the other side, but there's still that squad that's on the outskirts that could be overlooking a lot of the action by the edge of the hill.
Yeah, it's a Crid Seer ult. No one's going to be able to destroy it, and they're going to get intel here. Zach Mazer, by the way, I believe I just saw confirmed playing on controller. Made the switch from keyboard mouse to controller alongside Hal and a few others, which is so interesting. Element 6 eliminated at the hands of Naughty. Nice shot from Naughty, speaking of controller players. Meanwhile, the Tripods somehow survived. I don't know if they backed out and reset and went around the other way, but they were able to make it through this choke point, and they are in a decent spot. Needs are going to spam them, though. This is not good.
That was so scary. You saw Breezy just looking at the chaos happening in front of him, saying, I can't do much about this situation. I need to hide behind this Newcastle wall, but unfortunately, not fast enough to be able to pull that res. Now he's going to be able to try to get the res here onto a Breezy. He's got the gold knockdown shield, so he's going to get that nicely, but here comes the ape from the spot over by the other side. Tripods are in a lot of trouble here.
It's going to be Cloud9. Recognizes the opportunity to clean up 3 KP, and they are going to fly. Smart decision right there to ape them. And unfortunate situation for the Tripods as they got nade spammed to death by Cloud9 and then ultimately aped.
Huge here. Moist as well, taking control over this building. They're still sticking to the same game plan that worked out for them on Storm Point before they were caught out of position in that third game. They've taken the real estate inside of this building because if you take a look at their comp, very similar to what we had seen with the 100 Thieves originally, the Newcastle Watson, the taser composition that I like to call it. Kraber, though, in hand, he takes out the PK. He didn't take it out fast enough, though. Optic Gaming have made their appearance, and they're looking to fully send it on Moist.
That's right, Moist and the pylon gonna divert that nade, but Optic says, nah, we don't need nades. We can do it with our guns. Skittle Cakes with all 3 kills, by the way. He goes huge. Moist taken out, tries to bunker up again. Doesn't get many kill points this game, so it's gonna be a pretty low game for Moist, I believe. They'll get 6 placement points. Nice job from VZD, though. They continue to be the third of the party, and they continue to use this aggressive third-party playstyle to their advantage, but right now, Zane needs to find himself a shield swap, doesn't get it, and might just be able to heal back up. 3 squads remain. C9 in the best position to win this game.
C9 Optic, you can see them now trying to reset here currently too, with Zane being the solo of the squad here. C9 was looking on to this fight, and they wanted to be nuisances. They were just hanging out on the edge. They were able to actually put in a lot of pressure onto both of these squads to try to get in the third party. Look at this melt, though, taking care of Duplex. They didn't get away in time with C9 now taking over the roof.
Duplex gets knocked. Zane was the last alive on his team, somehow still alive. I doubt he got a res off here. No way. He's not going to be able to do that, especially with Sears all about. Zach and co will find VZD, and just like that, they recognize, wait, we already got a knock on Duplex. Don't let him get up. Skill Cakes might be the last alive for his team, and he's just going to run for his life with his tail between his legs. Goodbye and good night, as Cloud9 will be the champions of game number 4.
What a great game for Cloud9, though. At the very end, they were able to actually clean up a lot of squads coming in at the perfect time, not only to third party, but the rotation alone, leaving that big mod area kind of going through that high ground was a really good play from them. So with them taking game number 4, teams to get even more loot to figure out where they feel comfortable. As you can see where the rest of these teams are dropping, like NRG or looting staging currently. That's where they always land. C9 as well, the winners of our previous game for game number 4. We still have a lot of teams though in Skyhook, which is interesting. We did see E6 rather. They were in trials originally to get some of that extra loot, playing a little split up here, allowing 100 Thieves to take the northern part of Skyhook.
Yep. We're going to have the team Army National Guard drop over towards launch site, and Dr. Disrespecting will drop in Geyser, and 100 Thieves will split all the Skyhook and Trials loot. Trials will go to E6, most of Skyhook will go to 100 Thieves, and they will likely not fight this. Typically when two teams drop Skyhook, they'll split it 50-50. There's enough loot to go around. We have AIM dropping Frag East, and we have Team Tripods dropping Frag West as it currently stands. I know I was chatting with Nick a couple weeks ago. That's been the hardest thing transitioning to pro lobbies is, where do we drop? It's a whole new ball game in pro lobbies, and all the real estate's already claimed, so it's kind of hard to find a good spot to drop. And the Tripods look like they're going to settle with Frag West for now. Speaking of the Tripods, currently in the top 5, props to them, but it is 100 Thieves and Bosch still on top. They hold on. Optic Gaming in third. They're kind of like quietly in third place, Vicky, as they haven't had any like huge standout games. They've just been consistent.
Yeah, they're very silent but deadly killers usually. I mean, that's kind of been their playstyle for the later half of the Pro League for year number 2, and they're kind of replicating that here in this lobby. As you can see, Tripods are now moving in on this squad. We saw Chaco taking a lot of damage originally, but so does Nick Mertz.
Yeah, Nick gets a really, really good scan, though, and they're going to get that intel. 20 HP to that guy's name, and going to get naded as well. Great job right there from Aprizi to close that one out to Aim's high arc gun, but it's going to be Nick who gets knocked right after to Nags. Look at these shots from Aprizi. Oh my goodness, please. Or sorry, it was Deeds, actually. Welcome to the top tier of competitive Apex Deeds. Nick's been highlighting him as a top fragger in the game for a long time, and that's why. Oh my goodness, he has done 500 damage himself, I think is what I saw right there. Deeds is popping off.
Yeah, AIM getting eliminated after that fight too in the middle of their rotation, having some trouble. I believe they're actually right behind C9 with their performance so far in these last 5 games. So now currently, out from this lobby, we're taking a look at Optic Gaming right now, who are also making an appearance here, trying to get as much loot as possible. They're locking the 2 purples, the blue as well, before trying to ping where they want to go. They see that there is a squad right in front of them. They're going to put down the Seer ult for Seer ult here, but it's just Noct that's on top of that building. Nice positioning right here, though, taking a nice off angle to cover Noct's spot.
That's the problem with using your Q as Seer so early, is you don't have it in situations like this. You want to save that Q for when you do damage, because that Duplex is actually going to let that person heal back up, and not going to get the knock. But it looks like Skittle will get a knock, or actually a full limb on Marsh, Cage. Horizon goes down, and yeah, it's okay. Duplex did the damage, Skittle Cakes and Co cleaned up, and Optic Gaming find themselves 3 kill points. That's big.
There's a third party also rolling in right now, too. Look at these Seer ults. I mean,
wow.
I feel like I'm seeing geometry literally everywhere right now. Currently see Aiden now over to the side. Looking like
what's the name of the shape of a Seer ult? You know, there's like an octagon, is a pentagon.
It's like a pentagon almost kind of thing. I mean,
pentagon
it's all
times like 15.
Yeah, right? It's all 3D here. BR Demons, though, are looking to continue on their domination.
They will indeed. Vicky, at homework, I want you to go and count how many edges are on a Seer ult. If anyone knows that in chat, I will give you $100. No, I'm just kidding. I won't give you $100. But I'll be very, very impressed. It's a BR Demons cleanup as they do what they do best in these 3v3 fights. The BR Demons, known as the Arena Demons when they play in arenas tournaments, because they're so good at 3v3s, so skilled. Reeds on controller, Aiden on controller, Vayne holding it down. And I believe keyboard and mouse for this team. This entire squad, so talented in those fights. Speaking of talents, NRG rotates in as well and joins the battle.
Yeah, those BR Demons who took out Team Army National Guard here. NRG now rolling in to see what all the hullabaloo is all about. They got blue Evo shields here as Optic Gaming still alive. They survived that third party, but they did reposition into the other building. See, now Skittle actually rather just going on the other side. This is what Optic does best here, and it's taking these off angles. They basically bait a lot of these teams to go out into the open into at least one of their teammates' line of sight.
Lava Siphon is popping right now. Here comes Duplex on the wide right flank, and that's going to be more kill points picked up for Optic. They're going to take out the entirety of Team 11, aka Enemy Saucer. They were known as free agents in the first 3 games. Nice job to Optic. They are just being fed kill points right now. 6 to their name, I believe, and not done yet, as Moist Esports is nearby as well.
Moist Esports are bunkering down, but they're so low. Multi needs to help cover MT. Unfortunately, MT gets taken down. Now you see the rest of NRG moving in. Waltzy is able to get at least 1 knock, but it's Moist that get cleaned up. They were stuck in that corner for way too long, and Energy was able to capitalize. But let's not forget, it's Optic Gaming waiting for them on the other side.
That's right. That was actually really impressive from Sweet and NRG, but the fact that Sweet goes down means that another team will come in and have a chance at third party, and it's going to happen. Guild needs to do something insane. The Seer ult means every angle, every way he tries to run, he will be called out. And they're going to have to let Sweet hope to just crawl his way in. As Optic decides not to ape in full send. I don't know if they got the intel that Sweet got knocked. So Energy might have a chance here. It's a sliver. Nope, here comes the push.
This is that pop-off game that we were expecting here. 100 Thieves still alive, obviously making their appearance now into the action. See them beaming already, finding some of those picks. With the G7, Skittlecakes is going to be able to back away in time, but Duplex is not able to get into the safety of the building fast enough. It's a charge rifle that helps put in some pressure as well as the follow from the G7. This is going to be a scary situation here with so many teams in the area. Can they get that corner so that way they can get that res?
Nades are going to follow, and this Moist ult is still going to be here from Newcastle, which means, of course, you'll take damage and get stunned if you touch it. I was really impressed by NRG despite them having that close range advantage in the bunker. For Moist, they were still able to win that fight. They had to be really careful not to take that stun, take that damage, and they did. But NRG immediately got aped by Optic. I didn't see NRG get eliminated there. I think the pressure coming through from Zerifer and co. and from 100 Thieves maybe kept them alive, or did NRG get taken out?
Energy was just in the middle of a lot of chaos still happening over the other side. VZD now trying to get involved as well. They're falling so low. But the Sheila, are you kidding me? From G Dolphin, he just looked at them all point blank in the face and just melted them down. Meanwhile, Nico with the Newcastle ult suddenly gets a knock onto Zane. So many things happen in that fight alone when he now is going to be able to get res for VZD. But the fact that there is no third party coming in allows VZD to go in for the safe reset.
Yeah, that was actually wild. VZD and G Dolphin sticking with the Rampart and putting in work with the Sheila ultimate. They survive. They take out Team Doc. Now, Team 15, aka Cloud9, winners of last game. We said it was a must-win game for them. Well, this might arguably be another must-perform game. They got to keep it consistent here in these last 3 games because they were really, really quiet on Storm Point.
C9 now going to be able to hang out on the high ground, overlooking some of the action happening here for some of our squads. VZD specifically, we're going to reset. C9, the winners of game number 4 on World's Edge, now trying to replicate that going on to game 5 that we're playing on right now. Yep. But they're going to be waiting on the high ground here. They've been very patient, but they were able to find that success where they feel way more at home here on World's Edge, so it totally makes sense looking at the way that they were playing on Storm Point. Not really working out for them. Yeah,
they also have 1, maybe 2 kill points as well, so focus on making it to late game means you're basically going to be guaranteed kills if you can make it top 2. And placement points. That's a right strategy here for Cloud9. As things slow down a little bit, I'll take a moment to say congratulations to Badger, the winner of Fallout Trivia, Episode 1. A polyhedral, which I have no idea if that's the right answer. It just sounds right.
That actually makes sense.
It does make sense, and it sounds good.
It's a D&D thing, too. I always roll terribly, but it's okay. My RNG is good in other places here, like Apex when it comes to some really good loot. But yes, now looking at the way that other teams are situated, though, when you talk about Seer and those ults just giving you so much intel, Optic are taking some of those off angles again against this team, VZG, and they are going to be able to wait on the outskirts to see where these squads want to move, because there's a lack of information for these squads that have been fighting on the outskirts of these buildings, and they haven't really been able to secure the information of the beacon that's hanging out in the middle.
Game 5 of the 6-game series with a leaderboard that is fairly well distributed in points right now, meaning it's anyone's tournament at this point. 100 Thieves and Bosch in top 2, but not by a large margin. Optic in 3rd by a massive margin based on the points that they've secured this game. They should be able to position themselves in the top 2 if they can make it to late game, which they're well poised to do. VJ, VZD, the team that actually shut them down last game by aping them right nearby. So we'll have a little bit of a rematch here in this 7-team left finale of game 5.
That beacon in the middle of Lava Siphon, I'm wondering here if it's Corpa that has control over that, or if there's another squad waiting in the middle of Lava Siphon. That's going to be very crucial for the following circle, because it's going to allow that squad to already take the real estate, obviously denying themselves the opportunity to get involved in some of these fights. But this is what could spell doom for your team if you take on some of these early fights, especially with this year being in meta.
Yeah, VJ with the scans. Going to give them some info and just kind of help them recognize, all right, another team with purple shields. If they saw blues or grays, they might hate that fight. But instead, they're going to take their shield swaps to their advantage here. Meanwhile, Cloud9 continues just to play high ground. They're okay just watching all these teams get funneled in, and really, it's going to be a tough rotate for them. But C9, speaking of rotate, yeah, they're going to have themselves a difficult cross bridge and cross canyon type of rotation. We'll see how they play it. Kraber in the hand and Devotion in the hands of Zach. By the way, Devo with a turbocharger because it's in the replicator right now, and he's on controller now. So this is a good situation here if you're Zach.
Oh man, he's ready to mow the lawn, quite literally. This is his own makeshift Sheila, if I see one. Especially with the way that Zach loves to play up close. Now we're expecting C9, though, to make the longer rotation. You can see the pings over by the side, because even if they do want to force their way into that next circle, they are going to inevitably get circle kept by some of the other squads, like Optic, that are holding on to the other side, like currently what we see right here, too, from VZD. So a lot of these teams are waiting inside these buildings, and Cloud9 don't want to get caught off right in the middle of this open ground with a lack of structure to actually kind of LOS these other teams. So longer rotation, they got the redeploy too if they really need it from Naughty, so the Skyward Dive may be what's at use.
Yep, that's going to be the play here. The question is, where are they going to go? Not a whole lot of real estate available in Lava Siphon. A lot of it is claimed already, as you see here from Optic.
Oh, it's Optic that control that beacon. That's so smart, because this
Brilliant.
is exactly the position that I was mentioning before. That middle building here in Lava Siphon with the beacon, whoever has beacon control, thinking here it could have been Corpo who was holding the outskirts of Lava Siphon, is going to actually have a good amount of information now. C9, though, after the redeploy, meet another team inside of the tunnel.
Yeah, Zach's going to miss a must-hit shot if they wanted any hope at going back-to-back in this game here. Zach goes down, Naughty down to 2 HP, basically, and he's going to get most likely taken out here momentarily. No?
Very tricky situation, actually. The fact that they have not found him just yet. Dax, okay. He's healing up.
I don't think
He's
they have a
popping the
seer.
shield bat.
Yeah,
they don't see him?
They don't have a seer, and they don't see him yet. Interesting.
Oh, man. Oh, he's attacking Baxwell. Baxwell falls incredibly low, though. I think it goes for a reset real quick. He does get that break onto that lone player over by the bottom, but they get Baxwell. They get Armu. They know now that there is a player playing underneath the bridge. This is incredibly tricky for 100 Thieves to play off of, but this is a way better news for C9 if Naughty stays alive here. Cleans up some of these picks, and he sees the other squad on the high ground, but no team wants to give up the high ground here just to push the rat.
Yeah, Naughty doing everything he possibly can, somehow still alive in this scenario, but again, the scans are going to come in courtesy of the drone. He's going to get called out, but the team that knows exactly where he is and knows the level of shambles he's in, 100 Thieves, they're under duress. Here comes the push finally. They're going to drop in an ape, and Naughty with good damage almost gets a knock, but 100 Thieves finally shuts it down.
100 Thieves still gets that knock there at the very end onto Lifen here too. CC9 getting cleaned up here, while E6 are going to be able to play on the low ground here. But this is the risk that we were mentioning before. When you give up that high ground, you already see the team still in that tunnel. You see 100 Thieves over to the side. Case Winnie getting caught off guard as E6 looks to be in trouble.
Optic says, yeah, enough of this waiting thing. Let's join the fight. They're going to push in on VZD. They have high ground on VZD right now. 100 Thieves, though, down to just one member. It's going to be Anmu. He's going to get taken out by E6. So, Element 6 needed to go big and needed to take out 100 Thieves, who's ahead of them in the standings, and the gold knockdown shield for Slayers. Why? Because he's Lifeline. Which means, well, it's a good opportunity for E6 to have a big game here. VZD eliminated as well. We got Zerifer and Trix and Co. in the distance. Who's the fourth team, though, I wonder?
Wondering as we take a look at the other squads and
Rat?
where they are.
Question mark?
We have to see. We did have a lot of action happening on the bottom end here as E6 managed to get that reset. Are now going to go inside the tunnel. I think there was a squad that was on the other side of that tunnel there too originally. No, actually, it's cleared up E6. That squad actually that was in the tunnel, Corpa, is I think it is now made their way inside of that building.
Yeah, and Bosch is still alive as well. So again, 100 Thieves out. Bosch still alive, holding it down for EU and looking so good right now. A lot of people have been giving this team a lot of hype. They've been performing in EMEA tournaments, but now against some of the best North American teams, they're doing it as well. Very impressive. I'm excited to see Bosch in the EMEA Pro League, how they'll do against the likes of, you know, former FA Kitties, Alliance, so many top hitting teams from EMEA. But for now, 4 teams remain. E6 with a wise decision to rotate all the way around. We'll see if they commit.
Bosch, Corpa, E6, Optic right now too with the quick rotates themselves. I mean, let's not forget they were in that middle building originally. I believe they had Skyward Dive over there too because they were playing on the outskirts of Lava Siphon. Now they had rotated right back to where they had rotated away from, and they gave up that real estate here to this squad that you can see Tyler on the other side. Swinny as well, as you can see E6 with that quick rotation. I like that longer rotation because now they're going to be playing on the outskirts of the other side of the circle without really contention to their south.
Yeah, and they're in zone, and they have an EMP to their name, as well as a drone to get as much intel as possible. So, really good stuff from E6. If you're a fan of a good series, you want Corpa or E6 to win this, because Optic and Bosch are in top 3. Here comes E6, pushing up and finding themselves at 3v3. They're going to get the first knock on Tricks, though, so there goes one from Corpa. But, unfortunately, Swinny goes down. That might be costly. The res from Lifeline will come through and buy them some time. Nice black hole's going to be popped just to buy even more time.
E6, though, they're looking to try to take this fight with that gravity lift over by the door to just give them some extra time. Corpa, though, to their backs. You have to look at Bosch, who's right behind you, who's playing off that middle building. Looks like Corpa is in a very tight situation. Now you see Zerfer actually just backing away in time. Bosch now moving in, and that's going to be the green light for Optic Gaming to get involved, too.
That's right, and as all this is happening, I was just going to say Optic is just watching and laughing as they should be able to win this game here, but Bosch is going to say otherwise. E6 back to full health as well. Bosch was able to join that fight, but needs to play this really smart. They gave up their good positioning here to Optic, who's going to regain control of that building. And now Bosch is going to be forced literally to play off of lava into a grav lift and hope that they can regain good positioning.
Here we go. Bosch now going to be able to take control, over that high ground like you were saying. They just got right back to this building. They're going to have to give it up eventually with the circle pulling away from there. E6 coming on top of this fight, though. It's going to be Corpo that was in a lot of trouble, and Optic Gaming still waiting to see if they have the opportunity to move in. They're not even going to move forward here. They're holding this other side because they know that they're safe here. So why put themselves in a position where they know that Bosch can just move in and third-party them?
Yep. Optic playing this really well. I think Optic is best positioned to win this game, but we'll see if Slayers or anyone else can say otherwise. Look at they're in zone, so the next zone will be rotating. They have positioning. They have a lot of cover, and they have good shields and good resources. With other teams out of zone, you see the mark come through just to confirm that. Both teams, one team out of zone, the team to their right or west has to rotate. Or sorry, is in zone. Sorry, one team to the left has to rotate. Team to the right is in zone.
What's really nice to note here too, Follow, is our top 4 teams right now, 3 out of the top 4 are in this currently right now, are still in this game, are still one of the 4 squads remaining for game number 5, so it really does highlight how severe that top end of the overall leaderboard is. And
look at Zerfer in a rat spot, but he's going to get called out. The Q's going to come through. Bosch knows he's there, but it's not worth it for the 1 KP to give yourself up in a bad spot. This is the team that had to rotate as mentioned. It's Bosch. It's a tough game for them, tough finish.
And if Bosch want to push in on that, they're going to be in the line of sight of both of these teams, both E6 and Optic Gaming. They don't want to be in the open arms of either of these squads, not to serve themselves on a silver platter for these teams. They're going to have to let that rat survive just on the side, so Corpa gets count their blessings just for right now here. If they get the opportunity, they know he's there. They really want it, but is it worth it?
Yeah, that's a big is. I don't know. I don't think it is. They're going to be smart not to play that too aggressively. Do other teams know that Zerfer is there is the question. E6 on high ground, Optic right in front of them. Zerfer still somehow alive as a rat, but it's going to be K. Swinny who will get the intel as well. And here comes the aping coming through from Bosch. They will pick up that one. But now Bosch puts themselves on a low ground and really getting sandwiched here by Optic.
Lighting them up like a firework too. Look at this EMP moving in. Bosch too playing off of the corner. Look at these onslaught of grenades too that they're avoiding. Nobody in Bosch get damaged just yet as more grenades get tossed in their direction. Optic Gaming now with the intel, they're gonna note that they're right there too. You see the Seer tactical coming out, and they're right below E6 here. So what is E6 gonna do? They got the Kraber in the hands of K Swinny.
Yeet. They're gonna eat, so they're gonna do, Vicky. That's what's gonna happen. I'm calling for a mega eat coming through. So it's interesting. The best thing for Bosch right now is to pray that a Kraber headshot comes in and E6 knocks a member of Optic. Otherwise, they are the meat of the sandwich, not in a really great position. But Duplex going to heal back up. All members of Optic, full Evo shields. And again, I've been saying since the beginning, Optic, the best position to win this game for sure.
Love how Dupe try to find an opportunity to go a little bit more of left field to try to contest them at an off
Wow.
angle because they need to figure out which of these fights they want to take first here, Fallout, because this is a very dangerous position for Optic Gaming to be. If they decide to stick here, both these teams could essentially capitalize on Optic's positioning and actually sandwich them. But then which of these squads are going to come out on top for that third party? It's timing that's going to be super important.
I'm surprised Optic let Bosch get out of such a bad position right there instead of capitalizing and sandwiching them. I don't know. They had the intel. But I digress. Tyler's going to get a knock here. Bosch going to still survive and still thrive despite being in one of the worst positions. And guess what? That's their lifeline that goes down. The black hole is going to be placed, destroyed immediately. And it looks like Bosch is going to try and ape this fight, but they can't go all in because Optic will just clean up an easy win.
Bosch and E6 going in on each other is literally Christmas coming early for Optic Gaming now. Bosch going down with 2, Unlucky being the last survivor now, and it is all green lights for Optic Gaming to capitalize and take game number 5, which is going to let them skyrocket in the overall leaderboards, probably setting them up for first.
A massive game for Optic Gaming as they play that to perfection. High kills, high velocity, high octane as Optic takes a at least 20+ point game in game number 5, positioning themselves so incredibly well for game 6. We're going to take a quick right. World's Edge to wrap it up. Doc and Co. Well, they went Geyser last game, and it looks like they will be doing the same thing here. Optic, here's why they're so good on World's Edge, Vicky. We knew them to be really good on Stormpoint, but they're even better on World's Edge because they get all of Lava City, they get the Replicator, and they get all of Dome if they want some more loot, and they can take the edge fights on the teams that drop launch site. It is their tried and true strategy, and unlike Stormpoint where the meta's kind of shifted a little bit, World's Edge, it still works very, very well.
It's insane how much resources they have, and not only that, to include, they have the beacon. They have 2 beacons if they want to. You get a beacon, we get a beacon, everyone gets a beacon here on this team, and it's insane because that's a lot of information for them mid-rotation for them to figure out where they want to rotate throughout a big mod. Of course, to highlight that, the loot that you get out of big mod is absolutely huge, very similar to why they land over in Mill on Stormpoint, because Mill has a lot of good loot to work with. But when you give a team as scary as Optic Gaming all this good loot, all this information for rotation, so that way they already know how they want to play the pacing of this match, it's very lethal and deadly. And this is why I always root with Optic Gaming being the team to win usually for our team predictions in the ALDS Pro League, because this team just really knows how to flip-flop to their best advantages, just looking from the start and the drop spot alone.
Yeah, it's been pretty darn impressive to watch, and we'll keep a close eye. Elsewhere, we do know that the Tripods took an early fight against AIM, NA versus EU action, Frag West versus Frag East last game. So we'll see if that same fight will continue here in this game. Meanwhile, we saw an early game fight at Skyhook a couple games ago, but again, only 2 teams dropping there now, so Skyhook should be relatively calm and quiet. As we take a look back here, we'll see 2 purple shields. The Tripods being blessed here in Fragment West.
You love to see it here. You can see some of these other squads just waiting to take their time to rotate in. You see Doc and his squad rotating away from Geyser as well. Not that great of loot to get in Geyser, so with a quick rotate, that's exactly what they want to play into. As you can see, the Tripods as well, now rotating away from the side of Fragment, but there's a few other squads in this area. You see AIM hasn't really had the best of times on World's Edge, so now they're going to be able to try to see if they can take this fight, but they have to worry, because currently Tripods, they're looking fantastic in terms of loot. The G7, the Volt, one of the power weapons that we were talking about in terms of the loadout, but also just the 2 purple Evo shields too. Yeah,
the purple Evo shields, and then an R301 and PK in the hands of your best Slayer indeed. Yeah, a really good position. Meanwhile, kind of shambles here. Nags repping white shields, Uchako and Iarka with blue, and some decent weapons for them as well. Who's going to break ice, though? They'll have this 3v3 for clean for now, but not for long, as Deeds will drop the Newcastle shield, so Q's going to be wasted. But someone pops out of nowhere. It's going to be Uchako with the Peacekeeper. Catches Deeds off guard. Bit of a misplay from Deeds there.
Here comes a Seer ult as well. More information as Nick Merckx gets melted from every angle, the left, the front. This is what the scary part about Seer is so much information here. Now, Aprizi actually manages to get away just in time, but he is literally won. He is running for his life as he pops that shield battery successfully, while AIM is trying to fully send it down on Aprizi. There comes 100 Thieves over by the other side to see where the action is going down.
Yeah, and guess what? FA is there as well. Saucer, Enemy, and Bronzy. They're the only hope that Aprizi has to stay alive. And guess what? They're exiting stage left. They're going to say, nah, we don't want to get caught in this mix. We know 100 Thieves is nearby, a couple of their teams nearby. So will Aprizi get caught out? Love to switch back over to Aprizi's point of view and see where he is. And as I say that, Dundana's going to get taken out here. It's going to be Horizon and Marsh that get eliminated as the first team in this lobby.
getting taken out here as we see a lot of these other squads.
Wow.
NRG. I can't believe Aprizi still managed to stay alive here. It's a lot of that action. Sometimes it's not worth for the chase, especially with the 100 Thieves making their appearance. Of Vaxlon, though, may not like making this appearance, as he was the one that was caught off guard, literally leaving him one as he's probably popping that Phoenix. He's going to hide in between. Just got a med kit going, so it doesn't look like he's got the Phoenix ready to use here. Before you see AIM actually just going on for the full rotate while a lot of these teams are fighting. You're still chasing down Aprizi. He finally gets taken out, it looks like here. AIM was not letting that one straggler go.
Yeah, they weren't having that noise. They wanted that final kill point. They were going to get it. Meanwhile, Optic over Moist. That's big. Moist was kind of teasing the top 5. And looks like they will get full eliminated here potentially soon by Optic. 3 squads already out.
See them just looking around with the heartbeat sensor from Duke to make sure no third parties are moving in while they are melting down these squads. It's NRG dying at the hands of Optic Gaming. They're out of this tournament. They're out of this lobby. That's going to be it for NRG.
Wow. Certainly not the scenario we expected. NRG coming into this competition was considered the best team in Apex. They have Oversight tonight, which they've been dominating the Oversight League alongside Team Liquid. But for $70,000 in this tournament, they won't even get top 10, I don't think. So they're going to have to qualify again in qualifier number 2, among the likes potentially of TSM, Furia, and others.
Especially dying out that early here, too, with that 13th. 12 squads left in general. You see the caustic gas trap set up. C9 not letting go of this high ground here, but Naughty getting immediately melted by the grenade. Uchako moving in for the opportunity. The gravity lift all the way onto the high ground, but with this caustic trap, they can at least try to deny them space, but so many grenades that they have to avoid as well.
Yeah, Rocker last alive for his team, and it's going to be AIM that just continues to say, you know what, it's our last game. We got nothing to lose. Let's play aggressive. And they take out 2 big controller-oriented teams into the tripods, and then also in Cloud9. That is a massive showing for AIM right now. EU, stand up.
That's so crazy here for AIM as well, because I think before this game, they were overall in 12th place in the overall leaderboards. So amazing for them to really go out with a bang, if anything, because if they could stay in the top 10 here, Fallout, that's it. They qualify for the $50,000 finals.
Insane. It's late over there in Europe. Spain, Portugal, the UK, or many of these European teams are competing from, but these are gamer hours, baby. They're performing when it matters. Team Doc Disrespect. All right, showing some respect with an early rotation from Geyser and posting up in Harvester as well. They find themselves in a pretty good spot if they can find some good positioning. I think they were running Newcastle last game, if I remember correctly, so should be a decent opportunity for them to get early rotation and good positioning.
Also taking a look at VZD with the Rampart still. See him ready. He's also got the Sheila ready as well. Looking to their backs, it doesn't look like they have the information of the beacon. They did ping it earlier, so maybe that's going to be their next spot. They have to be careful, though, because Optic Gaming looks like they have very similar plans. They also love to work around these beacons. They're inside that next circle as well, so that might be a fight about to happen very shortly here in Lava Siphon.
Yeah. As you expect in Game 6, a lot of early aggression, teams trying to cement themselves, and if they're at the bottom of the leaderboard, trying to pick up some important kill points. Moist was able to survive, despite losing Jaro to Optic. But a couple teams already eliminated, and 5 teams at that. So instead, it's AIM who's able to get 6 kill points, I think. I mean, a really good start from them. Optic played aggressive early. Waltzy and co will not be able to get the respawn beacon will be able to find themselves good positioning, though, with Valk and Horizon still alive.
Have fallen off just a little bit looking at the performance at the very beginning of the day, though still in the top 5, which is still good news for them because it still allows them to qualify, but having to play out this final game as a duo with 100 Thieves tailing right behind them. They hear a lot of the fighting happening right in front of them. It's Dr. Disrespect and his squad here with still white Evos, though, so having to be a bit careful because the moment you see Moist or 100 Thieves notice that one bit of information could be enough to allow these teams to get enabled and just see the green light to fully go in.
Yeah, we know Team Dr. Disrespect is nearby as well, so we got Moist and a few others. Optic, though, oh my gosh, this is a dream for them. It's Nico and Team Dr. Disrespect. Nico gets knocked early, and they will just continue to find themselves some good damage, level up their Evo shields. 2 left on that team, and they will barely survive. Keyword barely.
You're a sitting duck when you take that skyward dive, obviously, here. There's a lot of time, and fortunately, losing out on one of their teammates here still to survive. You can see that choke point already getting fenced up. That's a nice spot to hold because we've seen the circle pull in that direction before, especially on the outskirts by that hilltop. 100 Thieves wanting that position to look like they were eyeing it just a bit, but they got the charge rifle, so this is going to be the grief zone by Scurry. He's going to wait up here. They have no reason to overextend, especially with the loadout that they're both riding.
That's a fact. Wow. Interesting finish here. We're going to have Optic Gaming and 100 Thieves both within Harvester and both well-positioned, well-resourced as well. So both teams performing. It's going to be a question of who can perform in the very, very late game to see who will take this tournament, as both 100 Thieves and Optic are in top 3. Bosch, the other team, in the top 3.
Go the alley-oop right here from Lifin. He's going to be able to get some beamage here with the R301 before reloading real quick. Black Hole also unleashed. Nice placement on the pylon though real quick here before enemy ego gets taken down. Here comes Lifin to get the follow-up. Slayers is going to be healing up with Shield Bat. A nice little swap here to allow K-Swinny now to take Lifin's spot. He falls incredibly low and Slayers gets involved in the fight. They get Bronzy down, and these are one of those quick fights so that you want to find, because if the fight goes for too long, that reset isn't going to come out. But already so much congestion spot over here as well.
Yeah, this is what he's saying. 100 Thieves being really well positioned. Oh my gosh, Optic though. Now on low ground, this is actually a pretty decent spot to be, especially if you have a little more bunker legend heavy or a team comp. So not the best position for their team comp is Optic, but they know how to get themselves out of these tough positions. 100 Thieves though, kudos to them. Early rotation, find themselves with quite a god spot with their team comp, especially. Optic under a ton of duress right now. And just so y'all know in terms of standings, Optic is in first place right now with 63 points. Bosch in second with 60, and 100 Thieves in third with 52. E6 right behind them with 43. Then Moist, then Tripods. So it is a really interesting finish here between those three, and guess what? They're both right next to each other in Harvester.
That's insane too, especially with how the leaderboards have shaped up even after that last game 5. Corpa, though, in a lot of trouble, losing out on the Seer here, as Corpa's gonna have to quickly rotate. Unfortunately, they have to reposition because it's E6 who have been on a terror throughout the rest of the day. They've been playing so well here.
Meanwhile, as things slow down, take a moment to say what's up to the best looking man in Apex Legends. Recently signed by the Guard, by the way. Congratulations to Rambo and the boys for getting picked up by an awesome org. Hell of an announcement video. That thing was insane. Shout out to Rambo for coming through, man. The fact that he comes through and chills in Twitch chat as a pro player, has literally no ego. So much respect for him, how humble he is, how talented he is. Emerged as one of the best players in the world at ALGS Champs. Kicking it with y'all in the chat. Rambo, we going to see you in the qualifier number 2, brother? Where are you at right now, man? We wish you guys were playing and competing today. As much as I love you in chat.
Gotta give the love over to Rambo. I love RKN too. Great players here. Looking at the chat, looking at the rest of the game here. This is the final game once again for those of you guys just tuning in. It's been a lot of action. D-Dolphin also with a quick shield swap before he helps reset his own health. Pops that medkit. Still rocking the Rampart, by the way. Of course, gotta highlight that. The only Rampart in this lobby, but he also decided to wake up and choose violence with the Rampart all week already. So not surprised one bit.
Yeah, G-Dolphin on Rampart, all 6 games, by the way. And as a result, well, they find themselves in top 10. And they're in a position to qualify for the championship in a couple of weeks. $50,000 championship. And the qualifier next game, you saw the Guard confirm they'll be playing next week, which gets me excited. They'll be stacked. I mean, you're going to have Cloud9 and NRG both in it, too, because I don't think either of them are going to qualify. They both are eliminated in Game 6, if I remember correctly. You're also going to have TSM, Furia, potentially, Guard, potentially. But instead, a lot of these European teams will qualify through.
Really good point too, especially since NRG was on that cusp, but they unfortunately fell really early in this final game, and it's just allowed other teams that were also waiting on that cusp to really pop off. We're looking at AIM Esports too. VZD, here she comes. It's the Sheila out and about, seeing that there are players right behind the rest of their teammates. A nice way to secure, give suppressed fire to your team.
Yeah, this is what you love to see in a Game 6, right? Teams that are in top 7, still alive and right next to each other. Tension is so tight you can cut it with the knife. As we have VZD, we have Optic, 100 Thieves, all within a vicinity. AIM trying to burst into the top 10, which they likely will after their dominant game here. High kill points for them are ready, and look at the turn and shred for Iarka. Turbocharger in the replicator right now, which means, and Devotion, which means you can get frying.
Devotion, the Havoc you could craft as well here. It's a beautiful thing to have on the rotation list. But for AIM, they're backing up just right now because they lose that Onochaku, unfortunately. So the Devo may not be the only thing that can save Hyrule right now. The reposition is key with the circle closing in 1 minute and 40 seconds. This circle is going to absolutely make sure that you feel all the hurt. Circle 4 closing in. Optic Gaming still playing off the low ground. And E6 in a very nice position. Lifeline care package to give them some extra makeshift cover, as well as the fact that they got the high ground here too. So Optic Gaming would be inevitably forced to funnel out of this spot if the circle pulls away from them after this. They don't have that information just yet, but it does let them know who's on the high ground. They try to make one of the players from E6 just poke their heads out so that way the rest of Optic Gaming can fully send it on them, but not going to give them that freedom.
Yeah, speaking of full send, oh my gosh, Noxus says, whoop, let me steal some shield badge real quick and get myself right back inside. No damage done. And the bow's going to be dropped as well on board with BR Demon. Actually, I think they dropped their weapon there, so they can pick up the quick weapon as well. Nice job. Kudos for the quick steal coming through. Meanwhile, BR Demon's alive here. They need a big game in this pop-off. Arca is going to go down, so they will be down to, I think, 1 member alive. And guess what? They're running this double scan, recon, comp. So annoying to play against, so much fun to play as. Bloodhound and Seer, which means, yeah, good luck hiding or ratting nearby.
Yeah, that's all the information in the world that they could work off of too here. CBR Demons now moving in, finding the opportunity. Got the Bolt ready and the G7. That's the class that we were talking about earlier before as the Beast of the Hunt ends right here. Nice to note here too, yes, Bosch is still alive. One of our heavy-hitting teams throughout the entirety of the day so far. They've been fragging out. Also, the Doc is still alive. Okay. I don't know. He still has white Evo Shield, so he's been swapping back and forth like there's no tomorrow. Optic Gaming also hanging out on the bottom with E6 still on the top, but they're going to stay out of sight, out of mind from E6.
Listen, if Doc is going out without qualifying, he's going out blazing. All right, game 6. Imagine for the bread, he gatekeeps Optic or E6 or 100 Thieves for winning this tournament. Just imagine. That's the best possible finish we could see, but my man's chilling right now. My man's in shambles right now with gray shields. Here comes the same thing we've seen all tournament long. The Team Comp, the Rampart, the Sheila into the Grav Lift, and he is able to absolutely fry with that. And as a result, guess what? VZD going to take out Element 6. Lifeline's not going to do you too good when you got a Sheila literally going crazy like a lunatic above you.
Not my paralysis demon coming to life, literally. Now Bosch is going to be able to move in. You see the Seer ult getting activated right in front of them. Ooh, unlucky. Falls incredibly low. Matafi manages to make his way back inside, but this is a very good positioning for Bosch because they know that they're not going to get contested over to the back here as long as that squad through the tunnel makes their way around Bosch. But this is a good spot for them to hold because they could look at the fighting happening all inside of Harvester, and they could just poke and try to steal a few kills.
Best possible finish. We got VZD contesting top 5. And top 3, which is the prize pool. We got Optic and we got Bosch, both in the top 3. The question is, 100 Thieves still alive? I didn't see him get eliminated, but I haven't seen him on camera in just a moment. 6 squads remain. One of them is Dr. Disrespect, by the way, here in this Code Red tournament. You love to see this finish, but they are in absolute shambles right now. Looks like they will get tagged up, called out, and someone's gonna they're gonna use an ult to try and stay alive for now, which they will do. They will literally somehow stay alive. Optic is gonna fly on high ground and try to retake high ground from VZD.
Optic managing to back up a little bit. It's BR Demons. This is the squad that you saw that Bosch was looking at. They wanted to be careful. Here comes this. Oh, Zero? Question mark.
Yeah, what?
Did he get? I wonder where it went. I'm not too sure if it got eaten by the pylon. Is that even? I've never seen that happen.
Wow.
What? I've never
It is a throwable. It is a throwable.
Oh my goodness, yeah. All right, makes sense here. Well, that's unfortunate. You won't have the information because that's going to be crucial for the squads that are going to be able to move into third party from underneath you. Like Bosch now moving in from their 6.
Matafe, Unlucky, and Tyler. I love this team comp. So much fun to watch, and they are frying. Nice shot from Matafe on the wide flank there. Unlucky's going to go down, though, so it's going to be all up to Tyler. Controller, Demon, and alongside Matafe. If any duo can do it, it's them. And, you know, Rambo said it. We said it earlier. One of the best team fighting teams in the game is BR Demons, but Bosch just made it look simple with that fight. I love the aggression coming through, and they will now find themselves in a great position on high ground, in zone, by the way, to come out on top in this game and maybe even win this tournament.
This is absolutely insane. Corporal also having to play from the low ground. The Doc is still alive with the rest of the squad here too. Playing on the outskirts, literally feasting for scraps. Oh no, here comes the Sheila.
Oh my God.
Doc poking just ever so slightly, but getting melted the moment he sees G Dolphin. I can't. I can only imagine D Dolphin snickering and laughing while he pulls it out too.
Yeah, I'm dying right now. This is like a movie ending for Dr. Disrespect. And here comes Sheila on high ground. But the Newcastle's going to defer it for now at least. G-Dolphin's going to be careful. They're hungry for these kills on Dr. Disrespect, but it might cost them as they're going to be tapped up by a Valkyrie Q. VJ goes down, all up to Zane and G-Dolphin.
Oh, G-Dolphin just risking on the outskirts
Ooh,
of the circle. Gonna have the Phoenix kit. They're gonna also get the res at the same time. 5 spots left for this final fight. Here, you see Optic Gaming now also playing off of the low ground.
All right, Dr. Disrespect saying, let's play with some confidence here. Let's take some high ground, and let's make sure our presence is known, rather than just hiding themselves in a corner and hoping for the best. Dr. Disrespect and Co. on high ground and in a pretty good spot here. The Traumatic Tears looking to bring tears to teams that are trying to take home a piece of that $10,000 prize pool. They're mathematically out of this, but they can reign and play spoiler.
Let's see. They've been playing really well, especially when it comes to staying alive for this final game, at least here. We know that VZD is on the other side. The Rampart has come out and has been out all day long in these 6-game series. Optic Gaming also playing off the low ground too, as well as Bosch, I'm pretty sure, still on the high ground.
This is amazing. I got some heals as well. Optic, Bosch, or sorry, VZD and Traumatic Tears all within a distance. Meanwhile, Bosch on high ground with Corpa below them. That's the final 5 in the final game of this qualifier number 1. It has been stacked in terms of the lobby. No NRG, no Cloud9, the teams you'd expect to be here. Instead, Europe has shown up, and Doc is showing up here in game 6.
Look at that. The Sheila, she's ramped up. You already know what that means. Don't poke your head. You'll get melted down like you just got put into the microwave. So, G-Dolphin going to be able to move away. That door won't save you either. Don't let that deceive you. Breaking down through not only doors, but Optic Gaming getting pinged down. It's going to be the Doc and his team to take out Duplex. That's a nice game point for them. And now putting the Optic in a very disadvantaged position. Bosch have the literal superior high ground right now. These 3 teams are shaking in their boots, or rather inside of these buildings, because where are they going to go? It's really only Corpo who's safe underneath the bridge.
Team Doc can win this game if they play their cards right here. They have a knock early. Nico pushes, drops the Q, and just like that, drops the ultimate. So they're going to have cover. Dr. Disrespect hits a couple shots to the evade, but not enough. It's going to be all up to Nico and Z-Laner. They connect for great PK shots, and Optic is going to get the res, and Optic is going to profit.
Optic is still alive here, dude! Oh, somebody call the archery! He got 99 range on that. He finds a few hits on this, and Noct currently still alive with the rest of Skill Kings. They're literally going on an elevator right now. They're still finding some of these cracks, but it has been such a scattered ending for this fight.
That's right. Skittle's gonna go down. Duplex already knocked. All up to knocked. Last alive. 1v1. He's gonna get taken out. VZD will be your champion, but you gotta think Optic did enough to secure the tournament. That should be enough for VZD to break into the top 3. What a storybook finish. You had Dr. Disrespect and Co. playing spoiler for some of these teams. You had Optic look like they were on their back foot. Instead, it was VZD who wins it. We're gonna jump to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got the leaderboards and final